Chapter 2048. Ruoxue City was located at the border between the Ghost Society and the Soul Society. It was close to the Triangular region and was a bustling city. In the past, underground auctions were usually held in small cities. There were very few bustling cities like this. When Sima Yue and the rest arrived, no one noticed them. After all, there were too many people here recently. They were not considered eye-catching. As they had no clue, they went to find an inn to stay in. Luckily, there were many inns here. They barely managed to find one that still had empty rooms. It seems like many people know that the underground auction will be held in Ruoxue City. On their way here, they heard people talking about it a few times. That's why it won't be too hard to get the news. Wu Lingyu stood in front of the window with her and looked at the bustling crowd below. The underground auction has been getting bigger and bigger these few years. Now they don't care about many people. I Xing said. If not, how would they dare to lay their hands on Sima Yue? I'm a little interested in the mastermind behind this. Sima Yue said, Lingyu, if I get caught, do you think I can see the mastermind? What are you planning to do again? Sima Yue asked. Sima Yue smiled at him. Didn't you guess it already? Are you going to mess around again? Wu Lingyu frowned. He didn't want her to take the risk. If we want to know if her aunt is in the auction, we can't wait until the auction. Sima Yue said, we have to go deep into the enemy's camp first. I think you just want to play. Fushi exposed her excuse. Anyway, our goal is the same. Sima Yue didn't deny it. Actually, she didn't want to play. She just wanted to find the mastermind. Master, let me and my sister go. Hi, she said. Anyway, they wanted to catch us before. If you two go, you'll probably be auctioned. Fushi had a sharp tongue, but it was the truth. Fushi is right. If you're caught and we can't find you, you'll be auctioned off. Sima Yue said with a smile. However, we really have to use your identity. Starfish and Hai Shi had been thrown into the spirit pagoda by her. She was preparing to fuse with Thousand Resonance and transform into Starfish while Mi-Air transformed into Hai Shi. Wu Lingyu couldn't stop her and could only let her do as she wanted. You go and pretend to be caught, I'll be auctioned. If you're auctioned, I'll buy you. That way you'll rightfully belong to me. Wu Lingyu said. US Sima Yue Wu Lingyu Sima Yue Wu Lingyu. And he Yue Sima Yue US. I'm going to look for the invitation. He turned around and left with a sullen face. He walked to the door and saw that Fushi had no intention of following him. His face darkened even more as he said, Do you need me to invite you? Fushi wanted to say that he wanted to go with Sima Yue, but seeing Wu Lingyu's expression, he decided not to. This man was burning with lust and easily jealous. It was better not to provoke him. Wu Lingyu left with Fushi. Sima Yue merged with Thousand Resonance to transform into Hai Xing and Mi-Air to transform into Hai Shi. Every time you call me out, you make me do this kind of thing. You're dragging me down. Mi-Air was dissatisfied. Why did he always do this kind of thing? You want to do something else? Why don't you take Xiaohei out to play? Sima Yue smiled. Oh, what are we going to do? Let's go quickly. We have to hurry. Sima Yue, the two of them went to the streets and didn't do anything. They wandered around the streets until late at night. Then they were caught in a small alley. The two of them resisted for a while. Then they were brought to a dark house. The two of them were tied up. After a while, they heard someone talking outside the door. Are you sure it's the Hai siblings? I've already compared it with the portrait that Mo Wei sent. It's them. Why are they here? The people we sent are dead. They should know that SpongeBob is here. They're looking for information on the streets today. I think they're here to save SpongeBob. How many of them are there? Is Sima Yue here? No. Only the two of them. There's no one else. Only the two of them? Is this a trap? Send someone to check if Sima Yue is here too. She's just a little princess of the ghost realm. Is there a need to be so vigilant? Even if she's here, will she affect the auction? What do you know? This Sima Yue is very strange. It's better to be careful. The Ghost King is dead. She's just a little princess. What can she do? Be careful. It's better to be safe than sorry. We can't. Okay. You're right. Hurry up and check if Sima Yue is here. Otherwise, our manager will be worried. Yes. Okay, let's go in and take a look at the two people from the Hai family. Sima Yue sighed in her heart. These people were really cautious. No wonder no one had found out about them after so long. The door was opened. Light shone in from outside. 3 people walked in from outside. They should be the 3 people who were talking outside the door. Manager, this is the portrait that Mo Wei sent. A manager handed 2 portraits to a man who looked like he was in his 40s or 50s. The manager looked at the portrait and then looked at the 2 people who were tied up. He said, "It's them. Find someone to look after them. They're from the high family who have activated their bloodline power. The price will be very reasonable." "Manager, don't worry. They're still unconscious. They won't wake up until the auction," the manager said. "With these 2 people in Songzi we can earn quite a lot this time." The young man said. "Young master, Songzi isn't on the auction list this time," the manager said. "Not here." "Didn't you say that she was already sent here? Something happened at the last minute? She's already been bought," the manager said. "Who bought her? Why wasn't she sold at the auction?" "Don't ask. The other party's price is definitely higher than the auction price." "Okay then. The news was released earlier. Fortunately we have these 2 as replacements." The young master said, "There are still 2 days before the auction. Why don't you let me play with her first and see if she's really that effective? If she's really that useful, leave her to me. Anyway, we'll tell the public that we're selling a member of the high family." "Up to you. Just don't kill her," the manager said. "Go, send this girl to my room." Chapter 2049. Sima Yue felt herself being scooped up, carried on someone's shoulder and brought into a room. It was a very comfortable room, but the fragrance from the incense burner affected the taste of the room. She was thrown to the ground. Although the floor was covered with a thick carpet, she still made a dull thud. Damn it, even if he didn't put me on the bed, he could have just put me on the chair. Even if he had to put me on the floor, couldn't he have done it more gently? Sima Yue complained with her eyes closed. The person who threw her went outside the room and said to the servant girls guarding outside, "Young master found another woman. Hurry and help her wash up. Young master will be back soon." "Yes." The servant girls replied respectfully. After the person left, these servant girls were no longer like this. They came to Sima Yue and said, "Tisk, she's not that pretty. I wonder how she got into young master's face. I heard that Hai Xing and Hai Shi from the Hai family were caught. Could this woman be Hai Xing? Hai Xing? That cauldron?" The arrogant voice was filled with contempt. "This kind of person is born to be slept with. She's lucky to be the first to be slept with by young master." "Taozi, are you jealous? Look at how jealous you are. You say it as if you're not jealous." "Sai, young master is just playing around. He likes us the most. Otherwise, why would he only have us by his side?" "I know, but I just feel uncomfortable when I see these people." "I understand. But we have to take her to wash up first. Otherwise, young master will be angry." "Sai, let's go." Bang, bang. Before they could touch Sima Yue, the 2 of them fell to the ground. Sima Yue opened her eyes and looked at the incense burner in the room with disdain. She used her spiritual energy and the incense burner was broken. However, the room was still filled with the strong smell. Disgusting. Sima Yue stood up from the ground and looked at the 2 servant girls. She threw them to the side room. She messed around in the room for a while and then smiled evilly. "Since you like to play, I'll let you have fun." Hearing the commotion outside, she flashed into the spirit pagoda. Not long after, Lan Yu opened the door and walked in. The first thing he saw was a naked woman lying on the bed. Her head was tilted inwards so he couldn't tell if she was a starfish. He didn't suspect anything. No one dared to do anything in his territory. However, the fragrance today seemed to be a little lighter and it was a little different from what he liked. Once this matter was over, he would have a good talk with Taozi and Lin Mingya. They shouldn't take advantage of his favor and not do things with all their heart. If this happened again, he would swap the 2 of them. He came to the bedside and looked at the person on the bed. He felt his blood rush to his head and he couldn't think of anything else. He just wanted to tear that perfect body apart and devour it. Sima Yue hid in the spirit pagoda and saw the scene outside that was not suitable for children. She asked Little Spirit to pay attention to it while she ran to find some spirit fruits and brought them to Sima Lu Xian. Sima Lu Xian made a futon on the edge of a cliff. He liked to sit on the futon and look into the distance. Because his chaotic river flowed under the cliff, after being immersed for a long time, his body also had an ancient aura. After staying in the spirit pagoda for so long, although Sima Yue would let him go outside for a while from time to time, he had stayed here for too long. His whole person felt a little detached from the secular world. Seeing his white hair, Sima Yue felt very guilty. If she hadn't left him in the spirit pagoda, he wouldn't have followed her to the ghost realm. After this matter was settled, she would go to the Ghost King to verify the Cardinal Point's divine seal. The sooner she found her mother, the sooner they could reunite. Sima Lu Xian felt someone coming. He opened his eyes and saw her. He smiled at her. You, father. Sima Yue walked over and handed him the spirit fruits. She took out a futon and sat down beside him. Sima Luxian took a spirit fruit and played with it in his hand. Why did you come in? I came in to hide for a while. Sima Yue didn't intend to tell him what happened outside. Where's Wu Lingyu? She went to do other things. Sima Luxian didn't ask any more. Father. Yes. After I settle this matter with the starfish, I'll go back to find grandfather and then look for the cardinal point's divine seal to save mother. Sima Yue said, Father, wait for me. Okay. Sima Luxian didn't blame her for her decision. He only blamed himself for not protecting her and letting her suffer so much. Do whatever you want to do. As long as I know that your mother didn't suffer, I won't be anxious. Your mother and I can wait. Dan Shan told them that the Ghost King went to change the seal. Although Yu Kuluo didn't have freedom, she didn't suffer. Father, we will definitely reunite. Sima Yue didn't know if this was for her father or for herself. This road was too long. If it wasn't for this belief in her heart, she didn't know if she would have persevered until now. My Yu is the best. I believe everything you say. Sima Luxian patted her head lovingly. Take it slow. Don't give yourself pressure. Okay. Sima Yue held his hand and leaned her head on his arm. A smile gradually appeared on her face. She talked to Sima Luxian for a long time in the spirit pagoda. Seeing that it was almost time, she left. When she came outside, Lan Yu had already fallen asleep. She was still holding a happy peach in her arms. She walked up and fed a pill to Lan Yu. Ugh! Lan Yu was awakened by a severe pain. When he opened his eyes, he saw the starfish standing in front of him and a naked person in his arms. Why are you there? He looked at the starfish, then looked at the bruised peach who was full of love marks. He thought of the different smell he smelled just now and immediately knew that he had been set up. Young Master Lan, although they can't wait to climb into your bed every day, you have to learn to be gentle with them. Sima Yue sighed. Starfish, how dare you set me up? Lan Yu shouted, you didn't faint at all. Your reaction isn't slow. Sima Yue said. What did you do to me? I just gave you some poison. Sima Yue said lightly. What poison did you give me? Give me the antidote. Lan Yu scolded in a low voice. But because of the pain in his stomach, his voice became weak. I can give it to you, but you know what I want. Sima Yue took out a small bottle and played with it in her hand. Lan Yu saw the small bottle and his eyes flashed with desire. But he didn't touch it. Instead he asked, you want to know where Sponge is? Chapter 2050. Smart. Sima Yue laughed, it's easy to talk to smart people. Sponge isn't here. Lan Yu broke out in cold sweat from the pain. Give me the antidote first, I'll find her for you. Give it to you? I'm afraid you'll catch me immediately? Sima Yue said, where's Sponge? Lan Yu held his stomach with one hand trying to ease the discomfort, but it was useless. You're not Starfish. He stared at Sima Yue. Who said I'm not? You've never seen me before. Starfish calls Sponge Little Ant, but you say Sponge's name is very natural. Lan Yu said, you're Sima Yue. You're indeed a smart person. It was a pity that he didn't use his intelligence on the right path, his thoughts were all on beauties. So it's true. Lan Yu said, how did you change your appearance? I heard you're a great beauty, you shouldn't look like this, right? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows, seems like you're doing well. Of course not, look, I'm about to die from the pain. Lan Yu said, see, we don't have any conflicts. You just want me to find Sponge for you, give me the antidote and I'll find someone for you, I promise I won't cheat you. When I'm better, we'll have an easier time talking. I can give it to you. Sima Yue shook the bottle, it's hard for us to talk if you're like this. She threw the bottle to Lan Yu and Lan Yu took out the pill and sniffed it. After confirming that it wasn't a poison, he ate it. The pill took effect quickly, and in a few breaths of time after he ate it, his stomach stopped hurting. This pill of yours is really magical. Lan Yu laid on his side on the bed, supporting his head with one hand. The bedsheet only covered his sensitive parts. Where's Sponge? Sima Yue asked. The weather is good, a talented man and a beautiful woman, a single man and a single woman in a room, don't you think we should do something else? Lan Yu gave him a flirtatious look. Even if you are in the mood, do you have the time? Sima Yue smiled as she watched Lan Yu check her body. When she realized that there was still poison in her body, her expression changed. You didn't give me the antidote, he said with a sullen face. Haha, Do you think you're too naive or I'm too stupid? Sima Yue asked. Then what did you feed me? Temporary? That's right. It can relieve your pain temporarily, Sima Yue said. As long as you bring me the sponge, I'll give you the antidote. Are you so sure that I'll listen to you? Yes. What? You don't know me? Because you're a pervert. Because I'm a pervert? Don't tell me you're trying to use my lecherous nature to seduce me? Sima Yue ignored the teasing in his words. Most of the time, lecherous people are afraid of death. If you happen to be one of the remaining ones, then I can only say that my luck is bad. However, it doesn't matter to me if you die. It's the same if I ask someone else. So you won't lose out. Lan Yu pouted. Sima Yue is indeed Sima Yue. Your reputation is not just for show. So what's your plan? My plan? Of course it's to cooperate with you. Lan Yu sat up, not minding that the quilt slid down and revealed his perfect figure. His clothes were already torn to shreds. He took out a new set of clothes from his space ring and put it on slowly. Sima Yue was not shy or lecherous. She just watched him put on his clothes. Let's go. He put on his clothes and walked out. Where are we going? Sima Yue was slightly startled and did not react immediately. Of course we're going to ask about the sponge's whereabouts. Lan Yu said, I'll ask about the sponge's whereabouts and you have to give me the antidote. We'll talk about it after you ask. Lan Yu took her to find the chief steward. The chief steward was making arrangements for the auction. Seeing Lan Yu bring the starfish over, he asked, Why are you here again? Isn't it because she's in a hurry? So I'm here to help her ask about the sponge's whereabouts. Lan Yu found a seat and sat down. Sima Yue stood behind him. When the chief steward heard him ask about the sponge, the smile on his face faded. He said, I told you not to ask about the sponge anymore. This is not what I want to ask. You know that I have tender feelings for the fairer sex. When the starfish cried in front of me, my heart softened. Chief steward, just tell me about the sponge's whereabouts so that she can give up. Everyone knew that Lan Yu was a romantic. Since he said so, the chief steward did not doubt him. However, he still did not intend to tell him about the sponge's whereabouts. It's just a woman. You've done so many in the past, but I've never seen you do anything for anyone. The chief steward said. The starfish is different from them. Lan Yu said, she'll stay by my side in the future. In that case, this cauldron has some use? But I don't see your strength improving. I can feel the changes in my body. You can't see it. It's only been a short time. Lan Yu said, Chief Steward, just tell her. Let her know that the sponge was bought by someone she can't afford to offend. Then she can give up. If she knows, she'll ask you to save her? How can that be? Lan Yu refused. I'm helping her ask because I don't want her to cry in front of me. Moreover, it won't hurt me. If I know that the other party can't be offended, I'll be stupid if I still go. Sima Yue kept her head down so that no one could see her expression. Hearing this, she raised her head and said with a smile, I just want to know the whereabouts of my little aunt. If I can't afford to offend them, I won't let the young master take the risk. If the chief steward doesn't believe me, I can swear. When Lan Yu heard this soft and weak voice, he thought of how she didn't change her expression when she saw his body in the room. He couldn't help but ridicule, pretending. She really knows how to pretend. The chief steward saw that Lan Yu was not going to leave if he didn't tell him, so he could only sigh and say, It's not that I don't want to tell you, but it will affect other people's lives more or less. So what? Anyway, people will find out sooner or later. Lan Yu said, Don't keep me in suspense. Tell me who it is. The person who bought it is from the palace. I heard that the Ghost Empress sent someone to buy it. She wants to reward a subordinate. The chief steward said. Ghost Empress? Lan Yu looked at Sima Yue and saw that she was astonished. She retracted her gaze and asked, Then do you know who it is to be rewarded to? How would I know? The chief steward said, Anyway, there are only a few people who can make the Ghost Empress take action. But no matter who it is, it's not someone you can touch. This matter ends here. You're not allowed to ask again. Do you understand? Chapter 2051. Sima Yue was very surprised that Anaheim would do such a thing. She thought about the man beside Ghost Concubine in her heart, but she had no clue. Since she had gone to the capital, it would be better to ask Deja for help. Starfish, you heard it? I really can't do anything about it. Lan Yu turned to her and said, Don't nag me in the future. Yes, I won't do it again. Sima Yue said obediently. Do you plan to take her in? The chief manager asked. See, it's still fresh. Lan Yu said. There are still 2 days before the auction. You have 2 days to think about it. I know. Lan Yu also wanted to deal with this matter in these 2 days. He stood up and said to the chief elder, "Since you know what you need to know, we won't disturb you anymore. Starfish, let's go." "Yes, young master." Starfish followed Lan Yu and left. The chief manager's face darkened and said, "Go, gather everyone here." "What's wrong, chief manager?" "Something happened to young master." "Isn't young master fine?" Young master didn't sleep with Starfish, but he was restricted by her. The chief manager said. If something didn't happen, he couldn't think of any other reason. "Didn't young master say that he already?" "She doesn't have the smell of sex, but young master's smell is very strange. Looks like he's been tricked." @_250_left. This starfish is so powerful? To be able to trick young master under our noses, she is indeed powerful. Go and gather everyone. The chief manager was a little worried about Lan Yu. If something wasn't caught by Starfish, he wouldn't have compromised. Now he only hoped that nothing would happen to him. Lan Yu brought Sima Yue back to his room. Peach was still sleeping in the same position. "Hey, you heard it? It's not that I don't want to help you, it's that I can't help you." Lan Yu said, "I've done everything I can. Shouldn't you give me the antidote?" Sima Yue wasn't as anxious as before. She waved her hand and put down the bed curtains to cover the person on the bed. Then she sat on a chair and looked at him leisurely. "If I give you the antidote now, won't I be cutting off my escape route?" "What do you mean? Didn't you pass the information that you were trapped to the chief manager when you went to interrogate him? I'm guessing that this house has already been surrounded?" Sima Yu looked at him calmly. "I didn't. You were following me from the beginning. It's not like you didn't hear what I said. I didn't do anything strange. You can't slander me." "Slander you? We'll know in a while whether or not I'm slandering you." Sima Yue said, "Since we have time now, why don't we have a bet? Will I destroy your auction or will your people kill me?" "My little beauty, you can't do that. If you destroy the auction, then I'll be in trouble. I'll never be able to go back." Lan Yu winked, trying to shed some tears. "Stop squeezing. It'll affect your image." Sima Yue said, "Where can't you go back? Family? People like us don't have any family." Lan Yu sighed. "You don't have a family?" Sima Yue asked. "No. Then how did you become the young master here?" "I don't know. I became the young master out of nowhere. Do you think you're stupid or I'm too naive?" "Alright, you're so hard to fool." Lan Yu said, "But my young master is different from what you think." "How is it different? Did the people in the auction treat you badly? Or do you have no money or power? Seems like you know how to trick people." Lan Yu sighed, "But you're right. I have no money or power. Even if you take me as a hostage, they won't care. Why don't you give me the antidote and leave now? Whether it's useful or not, we'll know after we try." Sima Yue said, "If you're willing to tell me who's the mastermind behind the auction, I'll give you the antidote." "Didn't we agree that you'll give me the antidote if I know where Sponge is?" "But you broke the contract. You revealed me." Lan Yu saw that Sima Yue wasn't anxious at all. She was drinking tea leisurely and said, "How about this? I'll bring you out and you give me the antidote. Tell me who's behind this and I'll give you the antidote. If not, I'll die and you'll die with me." Sima Yue said, "If not, I'll escape and you'll die. If I tell you, I'll die too. I'll die even faster." Lan Yu was helpless. "Didn't you say they don't treat you well?" "Even if they don't treat you well, I can't say it." "Alright then." Sima Yue nodded and didn't force him. She poured herself another cup of tea and slowly sipped it. There was already movement outside. They could feel that many people had come here. The two people in the house were still staring at each other. Neither of them had the intention to compromise. "There are people outside. If you don't leave now, you won't be able to," Lan Yu said. "Aren't you afraid that I won't give you the antidote after I leave? If you die here, I won't have the antidote." Lan Yu sighed. "If you're alive, I'll at least have a glimmer of hope, right? Seems like you don't have any status as a young master." Sima Yue said, "Let me guess. You're either a direct descendant of the family, or you were picked up by the family." Lan Yu only smiled. He didn't admit or deny it. Sima Yue looked at his expression and said, Seems like I was wrong. You're a direct descendant of the family, but you're not favored. Your status in the family isn't high and you're being bullied. You're even being pushed out as a shield." Lan Yu's expression changed a little, but it quickly returned to normal. Young master, someone shouted from outside. "Coming." Lan Yu's face darkened. He came to the bedside and threw the person on the bed onto the ground without any pity. He flipped the bed over and revealed a hole. Sima Yue looked at his smooth movements and raised her eyebrows. You're quite skilled. Come, let's go out. Lan Yu waved at her. Sima Yue hesitated for a while, but still walked over and followed him down the tunnel. They walked through many twists and turns, and when they came out again they had already left the house. We're here. Lan Yu went out first and Sima Yue followed behind. She finally had the chance to ask the question that she had been holding in all the way. You're running away from those people, she said with certainty. You're too sensitive. I'm helping you. Lan Yu refused to admit it. Sima Yue stared at him without saying a word. Alright, you're right. I'm running away from them. Lan Yu said, these people said that they're here to deal with you. Who knows if there's someone who'll take advantage of the chaos to deal with me. You're really miserable. Chapter 2052. Lan Yu ignored the sarcasm in her words and looked at her surroundings. Lan Yu, I noticed that you're very good at this. Do you do this often? Sima Yue asked again. That's right. Every time I go to a place I will look for a way to escape. I found this tunnel by accident. I guess the previous owner was also someone who ran for his life often. Lan Yu was not embarrassed. Actually, Sima Yue was right. He was someone who was afraid of death. Living was definitely the first thing in his life dictionary. You're right. Only by living can one think of other things. Sima Yue agreed with his point of view. To those who worked hard to survive, no matter good or bad, it was worth affirming. Of course, her affirmation did not mean that she agreed with everyone's way of doing things. She would not tolerate those who did evil things. Lan Yu did not expect Sima Yue to not discriminate against her for running away. There was even a trace of affirmation in her words. Lan Yu looked at her strangely. What's there to be surprised about? Sima Yue snorted. I'm talking about everyone, not just you. Everyone is just trying to survive. Lan Yu laughed. Little princess, you're really strange. Not only are you not high and mighty, you even went into the tiger's den for your servant. Lan Yu said. You're only half right. Sima Yue said, I'm here for starfish, but mainly to investigate the background of the underground auction. I want to know what kind of background they have that they would want to kill me. Are you kidding me? You're so famous in the world of spirits and souls, who would dare to kill you? Lan Yu did not believe her. Seeing that she was not joking, she widened her eyes and said, That's impossible? Did they really do such a thing? Of course. Do you really think that I'm so free? Sima Yue said, You as a young master don't know? I've already said that I have no money or power. How would I know all these? Lan Yu shrugged. Alright, let's pretend that you don't know. Sima Yue said, Anyway, we don't know how to make the antidote. You should know about the 100 insect 100 grass pill. It's made of 100 types of poisonous herbs and 100 types of poisonous insects. If you don't know which poisonous insects and herbs are used, as long as you make a mistake, the antidote will become poison. I'm old now, so I can't remember the old recipes. It turned out to be the 100 worm 100 grass pill. No wonder he was in so much pain before. If it was an ordinary poison, he might be able to find a poison master to develop an antidote. But this 100 worm 100 grass pill, other than her, no one dared to let him try it. Even though the symptoms of poisoning were the same, the antidote was vastly different. Add _250 left. You actually used the 100 insect 100 grass pill. Consider yourself ruthless. Lan Yu gnashed her teeth and said, Thanks for the compliment. Sima Yue laughed. Don't even think about killing me to find the antidote. I didn't concoct only one antidote. If you find the wrong one, I won't be responsible for your death. You're amazing. It's no use praising me. I won't give you the antidote. How was he praising her? Where was her face? Anyway, you don't have any status in the family. If you want to exchange it for your life, then I can't force you. Sima Yue said. Now that we've escaped, we'll part ways here. Now that you've escaped, don't tell me you don't care about Haishi anymore? He shouldn't have the ability to escape like you, right? Give me the antidote and I'll help you save him. No need. Sima Yue said and used the power of the contract to summon Mi-Er to her side. When Lan Yu saw Mi-Er, his heart was so gloomy that he wanted to kill someone. It was obvious that it was not a human's aura. How could those people not recognize it? Goodbye. Sima Yue nodded at him and left with Mi-Er. Lan Yu was betting that Sima Yue was interested in him. It was only after she left that he realized that she really didn't care if he said it or not. How long more do I have to live? He shouted at her back view. 2 days. You can still participate in your auction once more. You're welcome to look for me anytime. Sima Yue's voice sounded. Lan Yu kicked a big tree at the side, directly creating a hole in the thick tree roots. Damn it. The butler was right. This woman was indeed too strange. He couldn't deal with her the same way he dealt with normal people. Ugh. His stomach started to hurt again. He knelt on one knee and used his hand to support his stomach, but it couldn't relieve the pain. Young master. A secret guard appeared from the sky and wanted to help him but was stopped by him. Sima Yue. He clenched his teeth and beads of sweat rolled down his face. He wanted to tear her apart with his own hands. Young master, should we tell old master? The secret guard asked worriedly. What's the use of telling him? His heart is with that woman. Lan Yu said in disgust. Send someone to investigate. Find out everything about Sima Yue coming here. Young master. The butler brought a few people out from the tunnel. Seeing Lan Yu in pain, he shouted, Young master, what happened to you? Send someone to check if the auction items are still here. If they're not, immediately transfer the items from other places here. Lan Yu clenched his teeth and said, What's going on? The butler asked, What did that starfish do to you? She fed me the 100-worm 100-grass pill. I have to chase after her now and get the antidote. If necessary, I will reveal the secret here. This auction will be hosted by someone else. You guys should be prepared to leave at any time. Lan Yu's eyes revealed a cold, killing intent. I didn't expect young master to be hurt by her. I didn't get the antidote even after bringing her out. If I knew earlier, I would have trapped her inside and forced her to hand over the antidote. It's not that easy. I can't trap her. Even if I didn't use this trick, she would have other ways to break out. We might even suffer a greater loss. Lan Yu said, Now at least I can gain her trust. Young master butler, many of our auction items are missing. A guard ran over and said. Lan Yu and the butler were not surprised. After knowing that the two of them were fake, they knew that there would be problems with the auction items. Fortunately, Lan Yu had already sent out the orders. There were other auction items nearby that could be brought back to make up the numbers. Lan Yu was in pain for a period of time and recovered. However, they knew that this was only temporary. Young master, what do we do about the antidote? Do as I instructed. I will get the antidote myself. You guys can go. Although the butler was worried, the auction was very important. He could only bring them back. Chapter 2053. Sima Yue contacted Wu Lingyu, got his location and went to look for him. Yue, you're back so soon? Fushi was surprised to see Sima Yue. Yeah. Something happened so I came back. Sima Yue said. Did you find out anything? That jade pendant belongs to Starfish's Aunt Sponge, but she's not here. She was bought by Anaheim. Anaheim? Isn't she a girl? Even if she bought Sponge, it wouldn't be of any use to her, right? She said that she wanted to give it to someone close to her, but I think that the butler's words are a little exaggerated, so I can't believe it completely. Sima Yue said, I've already contacted my cousin's people on the way back, and asked him to investigate in the capital. Then have you found out who's behind this? Fushi asked. I have some clues but I haven't confirmed it. Sima Yue said, someone will come and clear my doubts. What did you do this time? It's nothing much, just poisoning someone or something. Sima Yue said, did you get the invitation letter? With me around, what's there to worry about? Wu Lingyu showed her the invitation, and she saw that he got a first-class room invitation, so she knew that it wasn't easy for him. That Mi-er stole half of the items from the auction, so I don't know if the auction will still be held. She smiled apologetically. If she knew this would happen, she wouldn't have asked him to do this. Mi-er's not bad. He actually thought of this. Fushi said, what treasures are there? I didn't ask. If you're interested, you can ask him later. Sima Yue said. Someone's coming, don't tell me they're chasing you because you stole their things? Fushi said. They're here to deliver the news. Sima Yue wasn't surprised to see Lan Yu. Although she didn't believe what he said, she knew that he would come to her for the antidote. As long as he was by her side, she could always get some information out of him. When Lan Yu saw her, she looked like she was about to cry. After you left, I was in pain again. It almost killed me. It shouldn't hurt for long this time. For the next 2 days, it will hurt once every 2 hours. Every time it will last longer. You'd better be mentally prepared, Sima Yue said. Do you have to be so cruel? I already helped you ask about Sponge's whereabouts, and I even brought you out of the tunnel at that time. You can't do this to me, Lan Yu complained. However, his tone was too familiar, which made Wu Lingyu look at him a few more times. That cold gaze made the surrounding temperature drop a lot. You're right. Since you've helped me, I'll give you a temporary antidote the next time you have a stomachache, Sima Yue replied seriously. You're so nice. Lan Yu gnashed her teeth and said, Thank you for your compliment. Sima Yue accepted it with a clear conscience. Then I can only follow you, Lan Yu said. If you tell me about your situation, I can give you the antidote immediately, Sima Yue said. But if you don't choose this path, what can I say? I already said that I don't know, but you don't believe me. Then take it that your position in the family is not high. You should know who's behind you, right? I know. The head steward brought me up since I was young. If he says that I'm the young master, then I'm the young master. As for the others, I don't know. Since he's the head steward, then what about the people above him? Don't tell me you haven't seen them before? I've seen them before, but the people above all wear masks that block out divine sense. I don't know who they are or what they look like. Lan Yu said. What he said was true. Other than the head steward and him, the young master, the people in charge of the underground auction did not know what they looked like. Moreover, he really had not seen them before. Even if he was brought up by them and knew everything about the underground auction, he did not know who the people who brought him up were. His adoptive father said that he was only an adopted son and could only do these shady things. On the surface, those things had nothing to do with him. He could not know and could not interfere. But in this auction house, he was the future successor. However, no matter how much he was valued, he did not feel that he was important. Otherwise, why would he not tell him his identity? He thought so much, but his face did not change. He looked at Sima Yue sincerely. Sima Yue did not say whether she believed him or not. Her stare made him feel pressured. This woman was not easy to deal with. In the end, he opened his mouth again. What I said is true. Do you believe me or not? What does it matter if I believe you or not? If you say that you don't know who it is, then don't know. Anyway, I don't know who's behind this, so I won't give you the antidote. Anyway, it's only for these 2 days. Sima Yue said. Lan Yu was speechless. Why don't you let me do his things for you? No need. I don't have anything else for you to do. Sima Yue shook her head. Then I'll give you a special invitation to the auction. They won't charge you any commission. How can you still hold an auction when the items are gone? The items that you took were confirmed this time. We still have backups. You lost other people's auction items, but I don't see you getting anxious. Those items were from the auction. They were sold to the auction and we put them up for auction. No wonder you guys are really unscrupulous. You can earn a lot of profit from the transaction, right? We have to take a huge risk too. Risk and profit are equal. Lan Yu heard her words and looked at her deeply. Yue, are we going to the auction? Fushi asked. No, we're going back to the capital. Sima Yue wanted to go back and settle this matter as soon as possible. Then she would look for the Ghost King and check on her. As for the background of the auction, she could feel that Lan Yu would not tell her. Lan Yu had been following her for these 2 days. Previously, he thought of using the great manager to exchange for the antidote. Now he could not get the antidote at the moment. Sima Yue kept her word. The next time he was in pain, she gave him a temporary antidote. Just now, the pain only lasted for a short period of time. However, he could clearly feel that the pain this time was worse than the previous 2 times. Just as he was worrying about the antidote, his people contacted him. When he saw the message from the secret guard, he was slightly stunned. Then he smiled. You want to look for Sima Yue. At this moment, she was preparing to return to the capital. Let's talk. You're going to tell me who's behind you? Sima Yue asked. No, I have something else to talk to you about. Lan Yu said. Give me the antidote and I'll tell you where Leng Yun and the rest are. Chapter 2054. Sima Yue narrowed her eyes and stared at Lan Yu. After a while she said, Sure enough. If he didn't have a high status in the auction house, how could he get this news so quickly? I can't help it. Everyone wants to live. Lan Yu said. Haha. Sima Yue smiled and took out a bottle and threw it to him. Lan Yu took out the pill and smelled it. It was similar to the previous one. This time he didn't doubt it and took the pill directly. After a while, he felt that the spiritual power in his body returned to normal. He knew that the poison was cured. Tell me, where are Leng Feng and the others? Sima Yue said. Dark Sea City. Lan Yu took out a note and threw it to her. It was some news about Leng Feng and the others. After Sima Yue read it, she burned the note with a flame and said to Wu Lingyu, Let's go to Dark Sea City. Yue, didn't you ask your cousin to check it? There has been no news for so many years. How can there be news at this time? How do they know that you are looking for Lung Feng and the others? Fushi said suspiciously, is this a trap? If it's a trap, we have to go. Sima Yue said. These people were all her mother's former subordinates. According to what they said about her mother's character, it was impossible for her to leave them alone. How can we confirm the authenticity of the news? Wu Lingyu asked. Leng Yun said that there is a code between them. This code is only known to them. Their code is in this news. Sima Yue replied. Because of the code, Lung Feng and the others should be there. If it was a complete set, it was also a trap. In that case, let's go. Wu Lingyu said. Add _250_left. She called out Chongming. The three of them flew on Chongming's back and headed for Dark Sea City. Lan Yu watched her leave without saying a word to him. He suddenly felt a little lost. How did you get this? The chief steward told the president. The president asked someone to send it. You're here so soon? The president is nearby. When he heard about you, he sent someone to deliver the news. He didn't come. Lan Yu was silent for a while before she muttered to herself doubtfully, how did foster father know that this information would be useful to Sima Yue? Young master, are we going back? Go back and tell the chief manager that the auction will go on as usual. Don't worry about anything else. Young master, if you don't go back, the head manager will say something. Don't worry about him. If he asks, just tell him that I went to Nether Sea City. Young master wants to look for them? I'm just going to watch the fun. Go ahead. Yes, I will return as soon as possible. They were in contact with their masters and knew how to find them. Sima Yue returned to the city in Chongming. After a few teleportation circles, she arrived at the Nether Sea City. Nether Sea City was a mixed city of soul race and ghost race. Because it was close to Avicii Hell, people from there would occasionally come here. Sima Yue came out of the teleportation circle and was immediately locked on by dozens of eyes. These people looked at them with inquiry, curiosity, aggression and all kinds of interest in their eyes. These people look really scary. Fushi sniffed and said in disgust. The three clans live together here, so there should be people coming and going. But looking at them, they seem to be interested in strangers. Wu Lingyu said. We will know the reason. Sima Yue said, and it seems that we won't have to wait long. Shall we go to the inn first or find Lung Feng? Fushi asked. Let's go to the inn first. We don't know the situation here, so we'd better not do anything rashly. They went to find an inn to stay, and the shopkeeper warmly gave them a small independent courtyard. When they went in, Sima Yue looked at the courtyard next door and asked, are there people living next door? Yes. They have been living there for several days. The shopkeeper said. How many days? It seems that your business here is good. Sima Yue said faintly. These two courtyards are relatively small, so it's easy to rent them out. The shopkeeper explained. Shopkeeper, the three races live together here, so it should be more chaotic, right? It is, but not as chaotic as people say. Then who is in charge of this place? There are almighty beings from the three clans here. Usually it's just small fights, so those almighty beings don't care. However, when it comes to big matters between the three clans, the almighty beings will come out and interfere. The shopkeeper said. Powerful figures? Is Silmer one too? Sure, Silmer's name can't be called casually. He is the powerful figure of Avicii Hell, so you have to call him Silmer the Venerable. The shopkeeper stopped her. If people of Avicii Hell hear you call his name, you will be arrested. Okay, thank you for your reminder. Didn't people of Avicii Hell say that they can't leave there? How can they come here? Sima Yue asked curiously. That means people who break the oath can't leave, but some aborigines can as long as they can find a way. There are ways. Of course. But these ways are not public or they will think of other places. The shopkeeper said, okay, this is the courtyard, are you satisfied? If not, there are other places. Here it is. This is the deposit. Sima Yue took out a bag of crystals and gave it to the shopkeeper, asking him to leave. Is Silmer the one who caught Lung Feng and the others? Yes, according to the news, Lung Feng and the others were taken away by Silmer's people. If they are really in Silmer's place, it will be troublesome to rescue them. If they are really in his place, we have to rescue them no matter how troublesome it is. So, what we need to do now is to verify the news. It happened so many years ago. If there are only three of us, we don't know how long it will take. There will be a way. Sima Yue said. Fushi looked at Sima Yue's confident look, and knew that she had found a way. Soon, he understood that it was not that she had a way, but that she had been prepared for a long time. He was peeling walnuts at the side and looked at the person standing in front of them from time to time. "Little princess, I am Di Giorgio, everyone calls me Giorgio. Did you get the news from the general?" Di Giorgio asked. "No, I got the news from someone else." "What's wrong?" "We just got the news back, so we shouldn't have come so early." Di Giorgio said, "Little princess, where did you get the news? Logically speaking, no one should know about this yet. It means that someone is investigating Lung Feng and the others." Sima Yu said. She suddenly thought of something and smiled knowingly, saying, "So that's how it is." Chapter 2055. In 1 second she remembered, "Love divided by you?" Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Seeing her like this, Fushi asked, "Yue, what did you think of?" "I guess the person behind this underground auction." Sima Yue said, "Giorgio, is there anyone with the surname Lan around Anaheim?" "Yes, the head of the Lan family, Lan River, has a good relationship with Anaheim. Before Anaheim entered the palace, the two of them had feelings for each other. After they separated, Lan River still treated Anaheim well and did many things for her, becoming her weapon." Di Giorgio replied. "I see." Wu Lingyu understood what she meant. "You think that Lan River is the person behind this?" Fushi asked, "But there are many people with the surname Lan in the ghost world, how can you be sure that it's him?" "There are many people with the surname Lan, but only Anaheim's people have the surname Lan and are so concerned about me." Sima Yue understood. "They should have known Lung Feng's whereabouts long ago and wanted me to come over. But I've been in the Yin sect all these years, so he couldn't send the news to me." "Then he asked you to investigate and send the news to me. Who knew that I actually poisoned Lan Yu, so he could only send this news in exchange for his antidote. Otherwise, how could he send the news over in such a short time?" "That's true." Fushi nodded. "If he didn't prepare, he couldn't have sent the news over so quickly. In that case, the matter of ghost concubine buying the sponge was also fake?" "We can't be sure." Sima Yue said, "Giorgio, have you confirmed Lung Feng's whereabouts? Are they really here, or is it just a rumor that they spread?" Di Giorgio understood what was going on. So there were so many things that she wanted to do by coming here at this time. "We've already confirmed it, they are indeed here." Giorgio said, "But because that place is too strict, if we force our way in, there will be too many casualties and we might not be able to save them safely. So we're still waiting for the general's orders." "I didn't expect the little princess to come at this time." "Then are you still waiting for cousin's orders?" Sima Yue asked. "The general said that as long as the little princess is here, your orders will take precedence." 99 said. "That's good." Sima Yue nodded. "Tell us more about the situation here." "Yes." Di Giorgio told her about the situation in Dark Sea City, giving her a rough idea. Lung Feng and the others came to the Nether Sea City 100 years ago. They wanted to go to the infernal hell through this city, but they were captured by Silmer and made into able-bodied men. The term able-bodied man was a common term used by Sima Yue. In fact, it meant to capture people like them who had just arrived and had yet to pay protection fees to the powerful figures of the Ghost Clan for their own use. Some were caught for fighting, some were caught for mining, and some were used for other unspeakable purposes. Lung Feng and the others were relatively lucky. They were only caught to mine and do manual labor. At least they were not in great danger, nor were they mentally devastated. However, this was the lowest place, so there were many people guarding here and supervising their work. Most of their spiritual power was sealed, so they could only use it for mining. They could not fight against these people at all, so they could not escape after so many years. His mine is really big. After so many years of mining, he still hasn't finished it. Fushi sighed. There are many mineral veins near the infernal hell. Because of this, the people of the infernal hell have a higher status here than the people of the other two clans. No one else went to rob those mineral veins? How could no one not want a share of this kind of thing? But the people of the infernal hell guarded it very strictly and captured many people to guard it, so they were all killed in the end. Only the two powerful figures of the Ghost Clan and the Soul Clan can have some. Even the people of the Ghost Clan and the Soul Clan can't do anything about it. This place is really not easy to break into. Sima Yue slowly knocked on the table. "We'd better investigate again. And we have to guard against the people of the Anaheim," Wu Lingyu said. Ghost Concubine's people had thought of all sorts of ways to get her here. They would not do nothing. And they were in the light while the other party was in the dark. They could not guess what the other party would do. Then this subordinate will send people to investigate the specific situation of the mine. 99 said. "Okay. You guys be careful. Sima Yue said. 99 agreed and left. Now there was finally something to do. It was boring waiting here. Yue, are these people reliable? Fushi put the peeled walnut into his mouth and took a bite. In his opinion, it was very unwise to make such a big fuss over her mother's guards. However, he was also touched by her feelings. The people of the D family are all capable. Sima Yue said. I believe they will bring more information. Then we'll just wait here? I see that the people here seem to be interested in us. Do you want to go out and play? Okay. Sima Yue also felt that the people of Minghai City were a little strange. She wanted to go out and see what was going on. They rested for a while and went out. The shopkeeper said that they wanted to go shopping and enthusiastically introduced them to the places worth visiting. The busiest place was the business street. They were not interested in it at first, but the shopkeeper said that there were many things that only the Avicii Hell had. This made them interested. Sima Yue learned a lot of herbs from the Avicii Hell when she was in the insect. It was very effective for refining pills. Now was the time to take a look. The three of them went to the pharmacy. There were many herbs here. Because the three races lived together, there were many herbs from the Soul Society. The shopkeeper saw that they were extraordinary and knew that they were important guests. He smiled and welcomed them. What do you want to see? I want to see the herbs from the Avicii Hell. Those are on the second floor. Please follow me. The shopkeeper brought them up. Sima Yue walked around and chose some herbs. Just as she was about to pay the bill, a hand reached over and took one of the herbs. The person said, I want this. The person at the counter was already calculating the bill for her. He had no choice but to stop. Sima Yue's face darkened. I chose this. The other party was a man who was almost 2 meters tall. When he heard Sima Yue's words, he looked at her with contempt and said arrogantly, I know. I just asked. This is the last rainbow dendrobium. I need it, so I want it. I don't intend to give it to you. Sima Yue grabbed his wrist and pressed on the acupuncture point on his wrist. Ah! The man felt pain in his hand and let go. The rainbow dendrobium fell into Yue's hand. Chapter 2056. The news of Silmer returning to the infernal hell was confirmed once again when Yue visited his residence. He gave her his contact number in the infernal hell. What about the people here if the Venerable One returns? Sima Yue asked. Someone else will take over after I leave. You don't have to worry about their safety. But there should be chaos for a while, Silmer replied. I've stayed here for too long. I used to want to enjoy the environment here, but now I realize that I've trapped myself here for too long. Then when will you go back? After you leave. You've caused such a huge commotion here and so many people have died. Nether Sea City will undergo a huge change. If I leave again, this city will probably be turned upside down. As the protector of a region, Silmer had accepted the offerings of the people below him, so he naturally had to think for them. Sima Yue was a little embarrassed. She didn't want to be so high profile, but Blue River had provoked her. Silmer glanced at her and the corners of his mouth curled up. She really did look like her mother. 10 days later, Sima Yue handed a thick recipe book to Xiaoling. Xiaoling looked at the recipe book and was a little confused. Master, how many dishes do you have? He thought that after learning from her for so long, he should have learned most of them. He didn't expect there to be so many. There should be a few hundred. Sima Yue said. Some of them are things I've already taught you and some are things I haven't told you yet. The ones I didn't tell you are quite simple. You just need to follow the recipe. Xiaoling understood that because she couldn't be by his side to teach him, she had taught him all her skills. Master, thank you. He looked at her, touched. The recipe book in his hands was unusually heavy. Although we haven't been together for a long time, I hope that your dishes are like your character. Yes, your disciple will follow Master's instructions. Xiaoling bowed. Sima Yue nodded in satisfaction. Master, you didn't answer me when I asked you if you would go to the infernal realm. Xiaoling said. Add _250_left. I will. Sima Yue said. Although I don't know when, I will definitely go. Then I'll go back to open a restaurant. Master, you must come. Xiaoling felt motivated again. The restaurant must have good wine. Sima Yue handed him another book. Xiaoling took the booklet. Compared to the thick recipe book, this one was much lighter. He didn't ask what was inside. He opened it directly. After reading the contents, he said excitedly, Master, is this how you brew fruit wine? Yes. Sima Yue said. Because of time constraints, I didn't write too many categories. But I think with your ability, you should have no problem deducing other things from one example. With this method he could try brewing other kinds of spirit fruits by himself in the future. Master, I will definitely brew fruit wine that tastes as good as those. Xiaoling said excitedly as he held the recipe and wine book in his hands. Okay, I'll be waiting. I hope I can drink your fruit wine the next time we meet. Sima Yue said with a smile. Don't worry, I will. Xiaoling answered with certainty. Although there is a lot of spiritual power in the dishes, you can't just rely on it. Your main life is still cultivation. Sima Yue said. Only by living longer will you have more time to cook. Xiaoling was shocked. In the past, people had told him that cooking was useless, and that he shouldn't spend too much time on it. They even said that he was wasting his time and would regret it sooner or later. His parents saw that he was obsessed with cooking, and his strength was growing slowly. They were very anxious and wanted to stop him from doing so. That was why they threw him to his uncle. Fortunately, his uncle didn't care about him and he had more freedom here. He opened a restaurant and no one would nag him every day when he cooked. He always felt that he was pursuing his dream by doing this. Even if his strength grew slowly, he didn't care. Wasn't the purpose of life to pursue one's dream? Therefore, he never regretted that he had neglected his cultivation. However, her words enlightened him, and the resistance he had towards cultivation all this while vanished into thin air. Master's words made sense. The higher one's strength, the longer one could live. Wouldn't that mean that he could cook for a longer time? In that case, he would have to spend more time on cultivation when he returned. Moreover, as long as he was willing to cultivate, his mother and the others wouldn't stop him from cooking. Previously, he was worried that he would have to spend a lot of effort to open a restaurant. Now he didn't have to worry anymore. He took out a token and handed it to Sima Yue. Master, take this token. When you go to Avicii Hell in the future, you can use all the people and items in the shops with this token. Sima Yue accepted it. Although she might not use it, the other party would feel that she had accepted it. Come to think of it, she had received many tokens like this, but she had never used them. Xiaoling sent them out of Nether Sea City. Seeing them leave, he put away his reluctance and returned to the city to look for Silmer. Silmer had already arranged everything here. He said that he was waiting for them to leave for the safety of the city, but in fact, it was just so that she wouldn't overthink it. She was his daughter and he still had to protect her. Uncle, Master has left, Xiaoling said. Let's go as well. Silmer took out a round disc and infused it with spiritual power. The light emitted from the disc formed a passage in the air. When the passage was completely formed, he put away the disc and walked in first. Xiaoling followed them in, followed by their guards and manservants. When the light dissipated, they all left. The tripartite alliance that had been formed in Nether Sea City for many years was gone. Su Wu and the others felt it the moment Silmer left. Although they didn't know why he left, their instincts told them that it had something to do with Sima Yue. She really muddied the waters of Nether Sea City. He sighed. But this also gave him a chance. The tripartite alliance was broken. From now on, it would be a battle of two sides. He had to be even faster and get ahead of them. When the situation in Nether Sea City changed, the people in the city finally realized how much Sima Yue's arrival had affected them. Sima Yue and the others rushed all the way from Nether Sea City to the imperial capital. Deja had already found out where Sponge was. Sima Yue brought Lung Feng and the others back to Fanghua Palace. Soon Deja, who had received the news, came to find her. When Lung Yun saw her brother, she was so excited that she couldn't speak. The others were also excited. They didn't expect to see each other again in this life. Sima Yue asked them to have a good chat while she and Deja went to her mother's study room. Chapter 2057. Sima Yue came to time, ordered a table full of delicious dishes, and then commented on them one by one. You shouldn't use an open flame for barbecue. You should roast it slowly with charcoal. This way it will be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. It's not right to cook your fish this way. If you cook it with oil, the meat will become very tough. This fish? She commented on all the dishes, and the head chef was so angry that he ran to her room and scolded her. You're so clear and logical. Do you know how to cook well? The head chef was so angry that anyone would be angry. Since I can say it, I can do it. Sima Yue said, I heard that Time's food was very good, so I came here. I didn't expect to eat something of this level. Although the food from other places is delicious, it's far from its reputation. What arrogance! The head chef sneered. Do you think that your food is better than mine? I have this confidence. Sima Yue replied without hesitation. Young man, it's not good to be too proud. The people at the door finally couldn't help but say, Head Chef Xiao is the best chef in Minghai City. Not only are his dishes delicious, but they can also increase one's spiritual power after eating them. Some of them can even increase one's cultivation speed. Can the food you cook have such an effect? Do you have the ability to compare with Head Chef Xiao? You haven't seen me cook and you haven't eaten my food. How do you know that I don't have the ability? Sima Yue asked back. You're a little old. We've eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. Little girls like you should just go back obediently. Don't make Head Chef Xiao unhappy, or he won't cook any more dishes. Yes, you'd better apologize to Head Chef Xiao quickly. Xiao Ling saw that these people were speaking up for him. He crossed his arms and looked at Sima Yue arrogantly, waiting for her to apologize to him. Sima Yue smiled and faintly spat out 3 words, impossible. Little girl, don't be too presumptuous. I'm already being merciful by giving you a chance to apologize and not throwing you out. If you continue like this, I'll have someone kick you out right now. You'll never be allowed to enter Time Incense's door again. Sima Yue was not in a hurry. She continued to say, you haven't tried my cooking before. How do you know it's not as good as yours? You want to follow me? Xiao Ling understood what she meant. It turned out that today he didn't meet someone who wanted to ruin his place, but someone who wanted to challenge him. Initially, I just wanted to taste the delicacies here, but I couldn't help but criticize you when I saw how you were ruining the food. However, you keep saying that I'm not qualified to comment on your dishes and that I'm speaking without thinking. If I don't prove it, wouldn't it be like what you said? After so many years, no one has dared to challenge me. Xiao Gao laughed. If the food you make tastes good, then I'll let bygones be bygones. I'll even exempt you from today's meal. If your cooking isn't as good as mine, then you have to apologize to me. Sima Yue agreed. You're still young, so I'll let you decide the content of the competition. Tell me, what do you want? Xiao Ling said confidently. Sima Yue glanced at the dishes on the table and said, let's do it according to this table. Stir-fried, stewed, fried, braised, stewed, we'll each have a portion. Whoever wins half of it wins. How about that? Xiao Ling saw that she was full of confidence and nodded. Since it's a competition, then we have to invite a fair judge. Otherwise, it won't be so simple to decide who's good and who's bad. Xiao Ling agreed. Since it was a fair competition, then they had to choose a fair judge. He didn't want people to say that he was the one who took advantage of the situation. Then let's go find a judge. No need. I know a fair judge. Xiao Ling brought Sima Yue to the top floor. He knocked on the door and entered after getting a response. Supremacy Seer, I'm very sorry to disturb your meal. Xiao Ling said apologetically. Sima Yue looked over and saw a handsome man sitting at the dining table with a table full of delicious food in front of him. His expression was calm. Although he ate everything, he didn't seem to be enjoying it like a glutton. Xiao Ling, you want me to be your judge? Do you think I can eat just anyone's food? Seer looked up at Sima Yue. Supremacy, don't be angry. Most of what this little girl said makes sense. I think her food won't be too bad. Try a different person's food. Maybe it'll give you a different feeling. Xiao Ling said with a smile. Sima Yue felt that his words were a little strange. Or rather, this person who was rumored to be interested in food gave her a strange feeling. There was no telling what Silmer was thinking. After a moment of silence, he nodded and said, all right, I can be your referee. Then let's go down and prepare. Xiao Ling led her away. From beginning to end, she didn't say a word to Seer. The news that a little girl was going to compete with Chef Xiao quickly spread. Especially when Seer was said to be the judge, many people rushed to Bailey Xiang. Isn't this the little girl who hit Master Hua? She's young and frivolous. She hit Master Hua, provoked Supremacy Su, and now she's provoking Chef Xiao. She's the one who sent Supremacy Su's guard flying? It's not her, it's the people around her. But she must have asked them to do it. TSK, this little girl has guts. She offended Supremacy Su and provoked Chef Xiao. She doesn't want to stay in Nether Sea City anymore, does she? Maybe she's someone with a background. Otherwise, why would she do this? She's so young. How can her food taste good? This has nothing to do with age, right? Maybe she can make something delicious. I think this little girl is better. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. Supremacy Seer is coming down. Seer slowly walked down the stairs. The lively Bailey Xiang's hall immediately quieted down. He came to the prepared chair and sat down without saying a word. So cold. Sima Yue commented in her heart. As if he had sensed her gaze, Silmer looked over. His gaze was so cold that she wondered if he had seen through something. In order to let everyone see clearly, Xiaoling removed all the tables in the hall and set up his own stove. With this array, only the kitchen was left. Sima Yue also took out her pots and pans. Compared to Xiaoling's, it was pitifully simple. Chapter 2058. Xiaoling looked at her pots and asked in surprise, "That's all you have?" Sima Yue nodded. "That's enough." Her ingredients were less than a third of Xiaoling's, but when she looked carefully, she didn't lack anything. "You can take any ingredients you want to make. Or you can use your own ingredients," Xiaoling said. Sima Yue saw that the ingredients were all the same and said, "Let's use the same ingredients. That way we can compare who's cooking better." Okay. Xiaoling also wanted to do the same. The same ingredients and the same cooking. That way it would be better to compare the taste of the two. He let Sima Yue choose the ingredients first, and Sima Yue didn't stand on ceremony. Although this person looked arrogant, he was still a good person. He was angry before because someone questioned his cooking. Now that they were going to have a fair competition in his territory, his performance was commendable. She chose the ingredients and quickly cleaned them up. Seeing her smooth movements of washing and cutting the vegetables, and then looking at the ingredients she cut, Xiaoling's recognition of her increased by 2 points. This little girl still had some skills, but he didn't know if her cooking skills were proportional to her cutting skills. Silmer looked at Sima Yue preparing the ingredients, and the fingers on his knees tapped lightly. The guard at the side was surprised because he saw a relaxed expression on his master's face. He was actually so happy just watching someone cook. Sima Yue and Xiaoling finished their preparations almost at the same time. They looked at each other and started cooking together. Stir-fry, stew, deep-fry, braise and stew. The stew was first put into the pot, then the brine was boiled. Only then did the two of them start cooking. The two of them were about the same order, and the time for each dish was about the same. Because the two of them were so focused, the people who were watching the show slowly quieted down. Watching them cook was also a kind of enjoyment. At the same time, everyone recognized her cooking skills in their hearts. She really wasn't just talking about it. Although they hadn't eaten her dishes yet, they believed that her dishes wouldn't be too bad even if they weren't as good as head chef Zhao's. Soon the first dish was ready. Xiaoling put the dishes on 12 plates, and someone immediately brought his dishes to Mirzi and the other people Xiaoling found to taste the dishes. Add _250 left. Because Xiaoling was found, the rules were set according to Sima Yue. Including Silmer, there were a total of 10 people. Silmer had 20 points, while the others had 10 points. Everyone would try the dishes and give their points to Silmer's bodyguard for safekeeping. Only at the end of the day would the scores of each dish be tallied. Then there would be a dozen or so dishes. Whoever won the most dishes would be the winner. The 10 judges ate their dishes and gave their scores, before the dishes were collected and handed over to Silmer. With Silmer here, no one dared to do anything. Also, no one knew the score of the others. Apart from Silmer's guard, no one knew the total score, so it wouldn't affect the score later. After finishing the first dish, Sima Yue's first dish was also ready. She put the dishes on 12 plates and carried them away. She continued to cook the next dish, as if she didn't care about the reactions of the judges at all. The onlookers were now focused on the faces of the judges, trying to judge the taste of Sima Yue's dish from their expressions. Silmer saw that there was only enough food for 2 mouthfuls on the snow-white porcelain plate and felt that her portion was too small. However, the color looked brighter than Xiaoling's. He wondered how it tasted. He picked up his chopsticks and tasted it. It tasted similar to Xiaoling's. It was slightly better but not by much. But it was rare for someone her age. Seeing that there was only 1 mouthful left on the plate, he felt that it was a bit of an eyesore, so he picked it up and ate it again. Venerable Silmer actually ate a second mouthful? He had only eaten 1 mouthful of head chef Zhao's dish just now. Could it be that Sima Yue's medicine was really better? The other 9 judges also took a second mouthful and realized that it was indeed much better. When they realized that they hadn't scored yet, they hurriedly gave their scores and had someone send it over. The other dishes were served one by one. The onlookers saw that the judges' expressions were getting more and more excited. They were even more curious about Sima Yue's dishes. When all the dishes were served, the expressions of the people who tasted the dishes were a little strange. "Alright, we can now add points to the scores," Silmer said. Sima Yue and Xiaoling came to their respective tables. Their dishes were already placed on the table. When the judges were calculating the scores, it was time for the two of them to taste each other's dishes. Xiaoling knew from the first bite that he had lost this time. Sima Yue was right. He wasn't as good at processing the ingredients as Sima Yue. Although some of the dishes tasted better, they weren't as good as hers. Before the final results were out, he had already put down his chopsticks and said, "I lost." What was going on? The final results hadn't been announced yet, and he already admitted defeat? "The final scores aren't out yet," Sima Yue said. "You were right before," Xiaoling said. "The ingredients did taste better according to your method." The others were dumbfounded. He admitted defeat so easily? Most importantly, head chef Xiao had actually admitted defeat? Silmer took the results from the guard and looked up at the two of them. "Do you still want to announce the results?" "Announce it." "Everyone has been waiting for so long," Xiaoling said. "All right." Silmer handed the results to the guard. The guard opened the results and read, Sima Yue 10 wins and 6 losses. Xiaoling 10 losses and 6 wins. It was actually 10 losses and 6 wins. Xiaoling wasn't surprised by this result. He waved his hand and got the people from 100 Mile Incense to clean up the place. Then he came in front of Sima Yu and bowed deeply, saying, "I admit that I've lost. The food you make is indeed better than mine. The way you handle the ingredients is also better." Sima Yue felt a little embarrassed when he admitted defeat with such sincerity. She smiled and said, "You've handled it very well. You just need to improve a little bit. I was too arrogant before. I thought that my cooking was the best. After today's competition, I know that I'm not good enough," Xiaoling said. "So, I want to ask you to be my master. Let me learn how to cook from you." We only made a dozen dishes. You don't have to do this, right?" Sima Yue declined politely. "If you can make these dishes, you can make other dishes as well. Just let me learn from you, master," Xiaoling pleaded. Chapter 2059. Sima Yue did not agree. She had no intention of taking in a disciple. "I won't be here for long. I can't teach you anything." She shook her head. "It's okay. As long as I can learn how to cook, I can follow you. But it's inconvenient for me if you follow me." "I don't care. If you win, you'll be my master." Xiaoling acted shamelessly. "Are all the people who win against you your master?" "No one has ever won against me. You're the first." Sima Yue was speechless. "If you don't agree, he won't give up." This was the second sentence Silmer said since he went downstairs. Sima Yue did not expect him to speak. She looked at him in surprise. Silmer did not say anything. He took the tea from the guard and lowered his head to taste it. She retracted her gaze and saw Xiao Xiu looking at her expectantly. Xiao Xiu's fervent gaze was filled with love for the food, and she couldn't bear to refuse. "But you won't be able to learn anything if you follow me. Won't you be a disciple for nothing?" "I'll still be a master if I learn a little. A master for a day is a father for life. No, a mother." Xiaoling did not look like a straightforward man. "Okay, I can teach you how to cook. But forget about being a father or a mother." Sima Yue said, "I'll teach you everything I know while you're here. It's up to you how much you can learn. We'll see if you still want to acknowledge me as your master." "Thank you, master." Xiaoling immediately bowed and kowtowed to her. "Since it's over, I'll go back first." Silmer said, "Xiaoling, bring your master to my residence tomorrow." "Yes, Supremacy." Before Silmer left, he glanced at Sima Yue. His eyes seemed to have seen through something. Sima Yue had nowhere to hide. She cleared her throat and said, "I won't be here for long. I'll teach you a few things today." "Okay, let's go to the kitchen," Xiaoling said excitedly. Sima Yue's best dishes were not the dishes she made today. She only chose them for comparison. When she went to the kitchen to show them her specialty barbecued meat, medicinal cuisine, Sichuan cuisine, Cantonese cuisine, Shaoqi's eyes widened. Sure enough, his master was really amazing. Sima Yu saw that it was getting late and Wu Lingyu and Fu Shi were waiting for her. Since she had nothing to do, she said to Xiaoling, "I'll teach you these first. You can learn the rest later." Xiaoling learned a few new dishes and was already very happy. He couldn't wait to try them. Seeing that Sima Yu was about to leave, he put down the ingredients in his hands and sent her out from the back door. He also reminded her to go to Silmer's place the next day. "I feel like Silmer knows something." On the way back, Sima Yu told him what she felt. "It seems so. I saw that he didn't even look at the others after he came down, but he kept looking at you cooking. He even spoke." Fu Shi said. Wu Lingyu did not say anything, but he could feel it too. "I feel like he knows something from the way he looks at me." Why else would he ask me to go tomorrow? Don't tell me I'm going to cook for him? Sima Yue said. Wu Lingyu held her hand. You'll know when you get there. Sima Yue smiled at him. The next morning Xiao Ling went to the inn to find her. The luxurious beast carriage stopped at the entrance and immediately attracted a lot of attention. Xiao Ling got down from the beast carriage and shouted as soon as he entered the inn. Master, I'm here to pick you up. Are you ready? Sima Yue, Wu Lingyu and Fushi came from the backyard. Xiao Ling saw her and immediately went to greet her. Master, are you ready? I'm ready. We can go now. Sima Yue said. Then let's go. Xiao Ling brought them to the beast carriage and started talking about the dishes he made according to her instructions last night. He even brought some for her to try. Sima Yue listened to him and ate the dishes he made. She also pointed out his shortcomings. The two of them chatted all the way to Silmer Mansion. The guards at the entrance saw Xiao Ling's beast carriage and went to greet him. Young Master Xiao. What is the Venerable One doing? Xiao Ling got down from the beast carriage and wanted to help Sima Yue, but Wu Lingyu had already helped her out. He's drinking tea in the West Garden. The guard replied. West Garden again. Xiao Ling sighed. Go to your thing. We'll go there ourselves. Yes, young Master Xiao. Sima Yue followed Xiao Ling around Silmer Mansion. Seeing that he was familiar with the place, she asked, Are you close to the Venerable One? Yes, he's my uncle. Xiao Ling said. But the people here don't know. I'm only telling you because you're my master. Don't tell anyone. Silmer is your uncle? Sima Yue and Fushi shouted at the same time. They even forgot to call him the Venerable One. This news is a bit hard to accept. Xiao Ling touched the back of his head and looked at them apologetically. But you can't call your uncle's name like that. Oh. Fushi nodded. You're Silmer, the Venerable One's nephew. This is too surprising. My mother and the others wanted me to come here to gain experience. But I only like to cook, so I opened a restaurant here. Xiao Ling said. My uncle wants to watch over me, so he often goes to time. Actually, my uncle doesn't like to eat as much as the people outside. He spread the news because he wanted to see me. I see. No wonder I felt strange when I saw him yesterday. Sima Yue finally understood her doubts. I knew I couldn't hide it from you, master. People who love food can tell how their customers feel about food at a glance. Xiao Ling wasn't surprised at all. Is your uncle easy to talk to? Sima Yue asked. How should I say this? It depends. If he's in a good mood, he's easier to talk to. Xiao Ling said. But he's in West Park today, so he's probably not in a good mood. Why? I don't know. But every time he's in West Park, he's always in a bad mood. Xiao Ling said. West Park was built after he left. The structure is very different from other places. My uncle only goes there occasionally. I don't know why he's here to see you today. What he said yesterday might seem like he wanted them to cook for him, but Xiao Ling knew that he wanted to see Sima Yue. They went to the West Garden and met Silmer, who was sipping tea alone, in a pavilion on a rockery. Seeing them come over, Silver immediately saw her walking in the middle. Uncle. Xiao Ling bowed obediently. Greetings, Venerable One. Sima Yue and the other two bowed as well. Silmer looked at her and said, Tell me, what's your purpose? Chapter 2060. As expected, he knew. Sima Yue thought to herself. Uncle, what are you talking about? Xiao Ling looked at Silmer suspiciously. You're stupid, that's why you can't tell, Silmer said coldly. Do you think she came to you on purpose yesterday? Didn't she say it because she didn't like my food? Xiao Ling asked suspiciously. Ask her, Silmer said. Sima Yue didn't intend to deny it after being exposed. She said apologetically, I did want to cause trouble for you at first. I just wanted to attract Supremacy Silmer's attention. And then? Xiao Ling asked. What then? Sima Yue asked. And then what happened after I attracted her attention? You taught me how to cook. Of course I taught you with all my heart, Sima Yue said. It was fine if she didn't agree, but once she did, she naturally treated him like a disciple. Then it's nothing, Xiao Ling said. You're still my master. That's it? That's it. Aren't you angry? Why should I be angry? You weren't wrong in the beginning. I was being irresponsible with the ingredients, Xiao Ling said. Xiao Gao said, besides, you taught me seriously after that. It's just that I learned a lot last night, so what does it matter what your original intention was? Sima Yue and Fushi stared at him with their eyes wide open. What could they say? That he was too nice? Actually, I should thank you for your original intention. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to find a master like you, Xiaoling said with a smile. Uncle, don't blame Master for this. I didn't intend to say anything about this. Otherwise, she wouldn't have become your master yesterday, Silmer said. Then why are you so shocked, Uncle? You scared me and Master. Xiaoling was actually very protective of his own people. Xiaoling, how long have you known her? Why are you so protective of her? Silmer's face darkened. He looked a little scary. She's my master. Of course I'll protect her. Xiaoling stood up to protect her. Useless. Silmer's tone was indifferent. It was impossible to tell if he was angry or not. He looked at Sima Yue and said, now you can tell me your purpose. Why did you attract my attention? Who asked you to come? What's your purpose? No one asked me to come. I was the one who wanted to talk to you. Sima Yue said. What is it that could make the little princess of the ghost realm come here personally to find me? In just one night, he had already found out her identity. Actually, I'm here to ask for a favor. Sima Yue said, a few of us have been captured by your men. I would like to ask you to be merciful and release them. When did this happen? I remember that Uncle hasn't arrested anyone for a long time. Xiao Pei asked. 100 years ago. As far as I know, you have only been in the ghost realm for less than 50 years. If that was the case, how could her guard have been captured here 100 years ago? They aren't my bodyguards. To be exact, they are my mother's men. Now that my mother is not here, I have to be responsible for her men. Sima Yue did not hide anything. For someone like Silmer, it was useless to hide anything from him. She might as well tell him the truth. Your mother's men. Silmer's cold aura subsided a lot. What are their names? Where are they now? You should have found out about this, right? I know they are. Sima Yue told Silmer the information of Lung Feng and the others. Before Silmer could say anything, his guard had already gone to do it. Master, so you came to find Uncle for this. Xiao Pei said, you should have told me earlier. I could have gone to get them out for you. I didn't know that Sir Silmer was so easy to talk to. Sima Yue said, because there are other people involved, so I thought that there would be a fight. What do you mean by other people involved? Xiao Pei asked. Someone told me this news. He wanted me to go to the mine to save people so that I could fight with Sir Silmer. It would be best if Sir Silmer could kill me personally. Sima Yue said. He even dared to scheme against me. He is quite bold. Silmer sneered. Who is so vicious? Xiao Pei yelled, Master, tell me, I will help you to kill him. They are not that easy to deal with. Sima Yue said, it is not that you are weak, but you are from the abyss of hell. He is one of the Anaheim's men and he is following the Anaheim's orders. Once you get involved, it will become a matter of two different areas. He is scheming against Uncle. We can no longer ignore it, right, Uncle? Xiao Pei wanted to get approval, but when he saw Silmer staring at him, he could not help but shrink his neck. Silmer looked at his only nephew helplessly. It was said that a grown son could not be controlled by his mother. Now that his nephew had grown up, he came back to scheme against him. Although he did not want to tolerate this kind of thing, Xiao Pei said it in such a dignified manner. Wasn't it just to get him to help Sima Yue? Yue is already very grateful that Sir Silmer allowed Cold Wind and the others to come out. Sima Yue said, these people schemed against me. Naturally, I will not let them go. You don't want me to help you? There is no need to trouble Sir Silmer. Sima Yue smiled, but if Sir Silmer wants to do something, Yue can't do anything about it. Blue River's scheme against her had indeed included Silmer. If he wanted to care, then whatever he did to them had nothing to do with her. She did not want to accept this favor. Silmer nodded and did not continue this topic. I heard that you are very good at making tea. I wonder if we will be able to taste the tea you personally made today? Sir Silmer has made it very convenient for me. Naturally, I cannot refuse this suggestion. Yue and the others walked to the fake mountain. She made a pot of tea for everyone. Xiao Pei saw that her method of making tea was very novel and the taste of the tea was very good. He immediately learned from her. While they were drinking tea, Cold Wind and the other 6 people were brought in. When they saw Sima Yue, they immediately knelt down and said excitedly and shamefully, Princess, are you all right? They had not seen Yukelluo for many years. The two looked so similar that they mistook her for her mother. They were all wearing new clothes and had shaved, but their sunken cheeks and skinny bodies showed what kind of life they had been living these past few years. I am not mother. My name is Sima Yue. I am mother's daughter. Sima Yue said. You are the little princess? They knew that Yukelluo had a daughter in the human world. They did not think that the person they would see after leaving that place would be her. I know that you have a lot of questions. I will tell you in detail when we return. Sima Yue looked at Silmer and said, "Can I bring them away now?" Chapter 2061. She didn't know why, but she felt that Silmer gave her a strange feeling. It wasn't the feeling that a venerable should have. Lung Feng and the others didn't seem to be in good condition, so she wanted to bring them back for a checkup. Silmer was too easy to talk to, which made her feel that it was unreal. "Sure." Silmer nodded, "But there's something I haven't asked you yet. Come back after you've dealt with this." Sima Yue didn't know what he wanted to ask her, but she still nodded and agreed. Xiao Gao wanted to leave with her, but Silmer made him stay. Sima Yue left with the group. When they returned to the inn, she gave them a checkup. "Little princess, how did you know we were here?" Lung Feng couldn't help but ask after seeing her treat them so well. "We've been looking for you for many years, but to be honest, it was someone else who told me where you were." Sima Yue answered while taking their pulse. Lung Feng didn't know that it was Blue River's scheme, so he didn't continue asking. He said emotionally, "Thank you, little princess, for saving us. It's a pity that we haven't found the princess yet. You don't have to worry about mother right now. I know where she is. What you need to do now is to take care of your bodies. Your bodies have suffered a lot in the past 100 years and it's already affected your cultivation. If you don't take care of yourself, I'm afraid that you'll stop here. Lung Yun and the others are still waiting for you in the palace. Are they doing well in the palace?" "Better than you. You can talk about it when you meet. I'll go prescribe some medicine for you right now. You can ask Fuxi about other things." Shi and Wu Lingyu went to concoct medicine to take care of their bodies. Fuxi stayed behind to ask about the situation and answer questions. By the time she returned, the two sides had pretty much understood the situation. Lung Feng and the other situation was very simple. They received news that Yu Kuluo was in Abyss and came here, but were caught by Silmer's people. When they found out that Sima Yue had spent so much effort to find them, they were extremely moved. When they found out about what Blue River and Anaheim had done to her and their current relationship, they expressed that they must take care of themselves so that they could help her in the future. When Di Jojo heard the news and rushed over, he could not believe what he had seen. He pulled Sima Yue to the side and asked softly, "Little princess, are they really Lung Yun and the others?" Sima Yue was amused by his reaction. "Shouldn't you know what they look like? But it could also be a disguise or something. What if someone is pretending to be him?" Di Jojo said worriedly. "These people are them. Don't worry about that," Sima Yue said. "Really? There is a secret signal between Lung Feng and Leng Yun. I have checked the secret signal." Sima Yue gave him a reassuring expression. Hearing her say this, 99 was relieved, but then she became worried. "Little princess, he handed the person over to you so easily, could there be some conspiracy?" When he saw Sima Yue's helpless expression, he felt helpless too. It wasn't that he wanted to worry about these things, but this matter was too inconceivable. How could Sima Yue hand the person over? If it was so easy, they wouldn't have to do so many things. No matter how he thought about it, he felt that this matter was not peaceful, so he could only think in this way. "I find that you like to think more than Di Lu." Sima Yue rolled her eyes. "Xiao Ling helped me to mention this matter. You know that he is close to Sima Yue and he is also very good to me, his master. As soon as I mentioned it, he helped me to ask for the person." Sima Yue thought that Sima Yue was right, that Sima Yue was willing to let the person go because she was Xiao Ling's master. As for their relationship, it was better to keep it a secret. Di Jojo was completely relieved. As long as there was no danger, it was fine. Lung Feng and the others are not in good health. I have to nurse them and teach Xiao Ling how to cook, so I will stay here for a few days. Do you want to go back now or go back with us? We want to protect the little princess and go back. Di Jojo expressed actively. Although his master didn't say so, he also meant it. That's good. I can ask you to help me investigate some things here. Sima Yue agreed to let them go, so she didn't hesitate to order them around. Di Jojo became spirited. What is it, little princess? Please tell us. Since Blue River lured you here, there must be people here doing something. Go and investigate those people. We will give him a big gift. Sima Yue smiled after she finished speaking. When Fuxi saw her smile, he knew that someone was going to be unlucky. The last time he smiled like this was when he was going to deal with Mo Wei. It was the same smile, the same words. Last time, Mo Wei bound her master because of kindness, but she was forced to leave the Yin sect. This time, Blue River was her enemy. This big gift was something to look forward to. Little princess is right. There are some people here who are Blue River's people. Before, we were thinking of ways to save Lung Feng and the others, so we didn't pay much attention to them. Now that they have been rescued, we have the time and energy to deal with them. Di Jiujiu followed a killing god like Dija. Naturally, he wasn't a good person. Taking revenge for the smallest grievance was a common trait in the Di family army. If Sima Yue didn't become Shaoling's master and if he didn't have a good relationship with Silmer, they would have had to pay a huge price to save Lung Feng and the others. Therefore, when Sima Yue said that she wanted to deal with those people, he was more than happy to do so. To be able to arrange such things in this place, their people must not be ordinary. Tell everyone to be careful and be careful. Sima Yue warned. Okay, then I will take my leave. Go. Di Jiujiu left. Sima Yue saw Fushi's sneaky smile and poured cold water on him. You can only stay here. Those things have nothing to do with you. He wasn't from this continent and he had the Dragon God's order. No matter where he was, he had to keep a low profile. Regarding these matters, he could only watch and not participate in it in a high-profile manner. Even if I can't fight, I can watch the show. It's not bad, Fushi said. He saw Sima Yue walking out alone and asked, Where are you going? To find Silmer. You're going alone? Where's Brother Lingyu? He's refining pills for them. You have to stay here and protect their safety. I'm going to Silmer. I have some things to ask him. Chapter 2062. Sima Yue went to Silmer's mansion alone. By the time she arrived, Shaoling had already gone back. When the guards saw her, they immediately brought her in. This time they were in the same pavilion in West Park. The guards brought her to the bottom of the rockery. Sima Yue went up by herself. When she saw the tea tray on the stone table, she consciously walked over to boil water and make tea. One looked, the other looked. Neither of them spoke. Although they were silent, it was not awkward at all. When she finished brewing the tea, she brought it to Silmer. Silmer tasted it, put down the teacup and asked her, You're so calm. Aren't you curious about why I called you here? You didn't call me here to make tea for you. You'll tell me after you make the tea. Why should I be anxious? Sima Yue also made a cup for herself. The two of them sat leisurely in the pavilion, holding their teacups and slowly sipping the tea. Neither of them was in a hurry. It's not good for someone your age to not be curious, Silmer said. Actually, it's not that I'm not curious. It's just that I don't think you'll answer my question even if I tell you, Sima Yue said. If you don't tell me, how do you know I won't? Do you know my mother? Sima Yue asked. Seeing his expression change slightly, she said, You asked me to ask. Why do you think so? Feeling. Sima Yue said, Every time you look at me, it seems like you're looking at me but also like you're looking at someone else through me. Sometimes your gaze is very focused and sometimes it's very fleeting. This isn't the first time I've seen it. When she was in the Yilan continent, her master Feng Zhixing also looked at her like this. At that time she felt sorry for him. Now that she saw this gaze again, she understood it all too well. Silmer fell silent. His expressionless face was somewhat scary. Even Shaoling did not dare to speak casually. Thus, Sima Yue, who did not understand him, could only remain silent. She did not know if he was angry or what he would be like when he was angry. Thus, she did not know what to say, nor did she dare to say anything. @_250_left. After a while he said softly, So there are people like me. He was indirectly answering her question. Sima Yue understood in her heart. Her guess was right. These things really happened because of her mother. He let Lung Feng and the others out, not because he was Shaoling's master, but because they were his mother's guards. No wonder he was so easy to talk to. There was a reason for everything. However, it was also because of this that she didn't know how to continue talking to him. She sighed in her heart. It seemed that her mother had a lot of luck with men in the past. She didn't know how her father managed to catch up with her back then. How is your mother now? Asked Silmer. You called me here just to ask me this? Haven't you heard about my mother? Sima Yue looked at him. Seeing that he really did not know, she said in surprise, My mother's matter is considered a big deal in the ghost world. How could you not know? Did something happen to her? Sima Yue wanted to say, Don't you like my mother? Don't you think of my mother whenever you look at me? How could you not know about such a big thing happening to my mother? Perhaps her performance was too obvious, and Silmer wanted to know about you Kaluo, so he explained unnaturally, When I told her, she directly rejected me. I was angry at that time, so I stopped caring about her matters. I also didn't let my subordinates report her news. I see. Sima Yue said, my mother has been suppressed in the abyss of hell for 1 to 200 years. 1 to 200 years was a long time for her. However, for a powerful person like him, this time was not long. It was just a closed-door cultivation. However, he didn't expect that the next time he heard about her, she was suppressed. I don't know, he said blankly. If he knew, what could he do? What the hell is going on? Who suppressed her? It's my grandfather. Ghost King? What? Doesn't he dote on her a lot? Silmer was very surprised. Because of some things. Sima Yue did not explain in detail. Where is she suppressed? I don't know either. Grandfather didn't tell me. Sima Yue said, I wanted to go back and ask him. However, I received news from Lung Feng and the rest, so I came here. Sima Yue then told him that the Ghost King wanted her to break through to Underworld Paragon before telling her about the Four Corners Heavenly Seal. So you don't know about your mother's whereabouts? Silmer said. Yes. Is there anything you need me to do? Silmer asked. No. Sima Yue said, if there is, I will trouble you. Silmer looked at her. He wanted to see if she was being perfunctory or sincere. Seeing that Sima Yue's gaze was sincere, he nodded. I heard that you have a bad relationship with Suwu? Sima Yue asked. You want me to help you deal with Suwu? No, I just want to ask you for some information. Sima Yue said, as the saying goes, the one who understands you the most is not yourself but your enemy. I want to know more about him. The best way is to ask you. You don't have to worry about Suwu. He won't do anything to you. Silmer said confidently. Are you sure? He sent people to the inn to kill me. Sima Yue said. If he knows about your identity, he won't be calculative with you. Why? Because he was once indebted to your grandfather. Do you know that he is from the Soul Society? I know. That's why he has more people from the Soul Clan under him. That year he was almost killed in the Soul Society. It was your grandfather who saved him and brought him here. He has always remembered the Ghost King's kindness. Now that he knows that you are his granddaughter, he won't make things difficult for you. Are you sure? He sent people to the inn to catch me. Sima Yue felt that he was not right. Of course I'm sure. He will give face to your grandfather, but that's only when he knows about your identity. If he doesn't know about this, or if he doesn't know about your identity, it's not surprising that he would do something like that. What you said makes sense. Sima Yue said, seems like someone can deceive his subordinates. I wonder if he will be angry if he knows that his subordinates don't listen to him and become someone else's lackey. He is a person who cares about his reputation. If you want to deal with his subordinates, it's best not to go around him. Silmer said. You want me to look for him? I'm afraid that I won't even be able to see him. This shouldn't be a problem for you, right? I need to go back and think about it. Sima Yue said. She felt something in her space ring. She took it out and heard Fushi shouting, Yue, come back quickly. Those people are attacking the inn. Chapter 2063. Needless to say, she knew who those people were. She was still talking about them when they came to find her. Although Fushi sounded anxious, Sima Yue wasn't worried at all. She said goodbye to Silmer and went back leisurely. When she returned to the inn, those people had been beaten up. Some parts of the inn were damaged. Wu Lingyu was talking to the inn owner about compensation while Fushi was eating walnuts beside Lung Feng and the others. How many people came? She asked Fushi. Many. Fortunately, Brother Lingyu came out at the critical moment. Otherwise it would be troublesome. Fushi said. Really? Sima Yue poked his head. You really didn't use this as a reason to make me come back? Fushi chuckled and pointed at Wu Lingyu, saying, he made me do it. Wu Lingyu had just finished talking to the shopkeeper. Seeing that Fushi had betrayed him, he shot him a cold glance. After that, he came to Sima Yu's side and looked her up and down. Don't worry. He didn't do anything to me. Sima Yu didn't stop him. She even went along with his strength and spun around, letting him see that there was nothing wrong with her. Of course, she wasn't unhappy that he called her back. Is it settled? Wu Lingyu asked. Yes, it's settled. Sima Yue said, it's the same as what I guessed. Is it really because of your mother? Fushi's eyes widened. Your mother knows a lot of people. Fushi wanted to say that there were a lot of people who liked her mother, but he felt that it wasn't good to say it out loud, so he changed his words. Yes. Sima Yue understood what he meant. No matter what the reason is, it's fine as long as we can save them easily. If we don't go along with Blue River's plan and fight with Silmer, I don't know if he'll be so angry that he'll jump up. He already jumped up. There are twice as many people today as last time. Fushi said. Twice as many? Wouldn't it be more difficult to fight? She looked at Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu rubbed her hair. It's okay. Silmer said that he wants us to meet Su Wu. What do you mean? Sima Yue told them what Silmer had told her. Knowing that Silmer was involved, this matter would be much easier to handle. Blue River probably saw that you didn't fight with Silmer, so he wanted Su Wu to deal with you. That's why he's doing everything he can to blow this matter up. Fushi said. Unfortunately, his plan is going to fail again. Everyone in the room laughed. Thinking of Blue River's flustered and exasperated face made them happy. What we need to do now is to meet Su Wu. Isn't that easy? Just go straight to their door. Sometimes, simple and crude methods are the most effective. Fushi suggested. Yes, I think so too. Sima Yue smiled. However, we have to avoid detection first. Wu Lingyu said. Late at night, Su Wu had been busy the entire day. Just as he was preparing to cultivate, he suddenly felt some movement. He got up, opened the door and went out. A group of guards rushed in from outside and surrounded the entire courtyard. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu came out of the spatial passage and saw this scene. Don't be nervous. We're not here to cause trouble, she explained. The others still looked at her cautiously. They didn't believe her words. If we really want to do something, you won't be able to discover us. Sima Yue looked at Su Wu. I'm here to find Venerable Su. Su Wu stood at the door and looked at the two. The two's attitude could be considered sincere. Moreover, with Wu Lingyu's strength, if he wanted to sneak in, it wouldn't be easy to discover him. He waved his hand and dismissed the guards. Who are you? What business do you have here? Sima Yue knew that he didn't know what had happened recently. I'm Sima Yue. This is Wu Lingyu. We're here to talk to you about something. What's the matter? Sima Yue told him about the matter with Hua Kai and how his subordinates were beaten up when they went to capture people. Then she said, although we don't have many people, it's not like we can't win. We're here today because we don't think there's a need for us to be enemies. We don't want someone to use your people to achieve their goal. Who do you mean by someone? Anaheim and Blue River. Anaheim? As the Ghost Empress, why would she spend so much effort on a little girl like you? Because my grandfather is protecting me. She can't kill me in front of my grandfather. She can only think of ways to borrow the hands of others. Sima Yue shrugged. You're talking about the Ghost King? Whose daughter are you? My mother's name is Yu Kuluo. Su Wu had never seen Yu Kuluo before. He didn't know that they looked alike and couldn't determine her identity. Even if she had the aura of royalty, she might not be someone protected by the Ghost King. Grandfather left a soul imprint on me. If you don't believe me, I can show it to you. Sima Yue released the Ghost King's soul imprint. He closed his eyes and had a peaceful expression. If he encountered danger, he would open his eyes and release his power. Su Wu looked at the Ghost King's soul imprint and reminisced. I believe you. Since you're the Ghost King's granddaughter, I owe him a favor. I won't make things difficult for you. Su Wu said. If it was someone else who offended his subordinates, he would also teach them a lesson. This was the rule here. I won't forgive those who attack us. I'm telling you this today because I don't have the intention to provoke you. Secondly, I'm telling you that I won't let this person go. When the time comes, I hope you won't mind. Sima Yue said. Do as you wish. Su Wu didn't mind. Just as she said, if his subordinates colluded with others and tried to drag him down, he would find out by himself even if she didn't do anything, not to mention that he shouldn't care about such subordinates. As long as you agree. Then we'll take our leave. Only a few minutes had passed since they arrived and left, but both sides had reached an agreement. After that, she would be able to do whatever she wanted to do without any worries. Not long after Sima Yue went back, Di Jojo came back with news. They found some of Blue River's subordinates here. Since you've found them, there's no need to be polite. Sima Yue said, bring some people to pick those spots. Since they dared to scheme against us, we'll let them know why the flowers are so red. Okay. Di Jojo loved this feeling. It was as if there was a boss protecting him from above. He brought some people to kill people. Knowing that there would be a lot of excitement tonight, Fushi urged Sima Yue to go and watch the show. Sima Yue couldn't persuade him and could only agree to bring him. She left Cold Wind and the others to rest in the inn and set up a barrier outside the inn. Not long after they left, the door to Cold Wind's room was opened. Chapter 2064. In the dark room, Lung Feng and the others were sleeping soundly on a large bed. Sima Yu added something that calmed their nerves and made them sleep. This way they would be able to recover better. Because of the effect of the elixir, Lung Feng and the others had almost no resistance to danger. If someone came in at this time, it would be easy for him to do anything to them. In order to protect them, she set up a bounded domain around the courtyard and the inn. As long as someone broke it, she would know and come back to save them. She told the shopkeeper when she was setting up the bounded domain. After all, it would affect his business temporarily. She also asked the shopkeeper to take care of them. Now someone had sneaked into their room. In such a dark night, that person accurately found the location of Lung Feng and the others. He took out a dagger and was about to stab the people on the bed. But before he moved, the dark room was lit up. "It's you." Sima Yue was not surprised to see the person standing beside the bed. "You knew I was here." Lan Yu looked at Sima Yue, Wu Lingyu and Fushi beside her. The person who should have left here appeared here. It could only mean one thing: they had planned all this. "Yes, I knew it," Sima Yue admitted. "Not only did you come here, but you also lived in the courtyard next door. So you deliberately set up a trap to lure me out." Lan Yu said. "Yes, if not, how could you bear to come out?" Sima Yue said, "You wanted me to fight with Silmer, but you didn't expect that I could save them so easily. So I thought that you wouldn't let me get what I wanted so easily. You couldn't kill me, but you could kill the people I wanted to save. It would be good for me to fail. It was just a guess, but your actions confirmed my thoughts." "Ah, it wasn't my idea. I just came to help," Lan Yu said. "Who is Lan Yu to you? Why would you take such a risk for her?" Sima Yue chuckled. "Isn't he afraid that you will lose your life again? You look down on my strength so much?" He didn't know why, but being looked down by her, he had some inexplicable emotions in his heart, like anger and disappointment. These emotions were too unfamiliar to him, making him very uncomfortable. "I didn't look down on you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spent so much effort to lure you out." Sima Yue said, "To be exact, I prepared well before coming to welcome you." As soon as she finished speaking, a group of people in black appeared in the room. Lan Yu's face darkened. He didn't see them just now. They should have been in the room for a long time. But he didn't see them. "Don't be so surprised. It's just a small array formation." Fushi crossed his arms in front of his chest. Lan Yu was a little surprised. Even if it was an array formation, there would be array formation fluctuations. However, he did not feel it. How powerful was the person who set up this array? Although he was astonished, he quickly to analyze the current situation. With these people, it was even more impossible for him to make a move against Lung Feng and the others. This time he could only return empty-handed. "You really surprised me, but you forgot one thing. This is not your territory." He took out something and crushed it. His entire body became somewhat illusory. Before he disappeared, he mouthed to her, "We'll meet again." Seeing him disappear, Fushi asked, "Yue, should we chase after him?" "No need. We don't even know where he is." Sima Yue shook her head. "Let's see if the rest of the people in the inn are still there." Lan Yu was right. This was not her territory. She couldn't control everything. Although they had set up an enchantment, they couldn't stop him from leaving. It would be futile to chase after him now. They went out to take a look. The inn was already empty. Even the innkeeper was gone. His identity was exposed. He ran so fast. Fushi snorted. If he came earlier, they wouldn't have escaped. "Didn't you want to watch the show? If you don't go, 99 and the others will be finished." Sima Yue reminded him. "I'm going." Fushi shouted and hurriedly left the inn. "Black Shadow, go and watch him. Don't let him be in any danger," Sima Yue said. "Okay." All these years, Black Shadow, Huan and Chanjiu had hidden in the dark to protect her. Every time she thought of what the three of them had done for her, she felt guilty. But the three of them had been together for more than 20 years and had a very good friendship. "Let's go back to our room." Sima Yue looked at the few people sleeping. Even if something like this happened, they didn't wake up. Tonight, many things happened in Dark Sea City. It was destined to be a noisy night. However, the people in the city didn't have much reaction to this, except for some people who were angry when they were disturbed. Silmer looked at several places in the city where the flames were burning and remained silent. His guard stood behind him and watched the commotion. "They really don't keep a low profile." "She's not a low-profile person," Silmer said. "The news I received before said that this little princess is very low profile. It's only when she came to Dark Sea City that she became high profile." Silmer didn't answer because the she he was talking about was not that she. Early the next morning, Sima Yue saw Fushi and Di Jiujio with excited faces. Yue, we killed all their people this time. Fushi jumped over and said, You want to fight? Sima Yue could tell at a glance. Hehe, I haven't fought in a long time. Fushi said with a smile. Young man, not bad. Sima Yue said, You don't care if it will cause trouble. It's just a battle. How can there be any trouble? Fushi felt that she was too careful. Sima Yue didn't say anything. If it was really as simple as he said, she wouldn't be so careful. But she didn't want to tell him about the dangers now. It had already happened and it was useless to say it. The time she saw him, the beasts moved and those old guys came to kill them. Although it seemed that nothing happened in the end, as long as she thought about it, she would know what happened at that time. Moreover, Anaheim's subordinates were involved in the matter of the Mo clan. Anaheim must have received the news of the Dragon God Order. After she was intercepted and killed, there was a child by her side. It was easy to think that he was the owner of the Dragon God Order. Although he had grown up now, his facial features hadn't changed much. She could still see the mold of his childhood. If Anaheim paid attention to him, she was afraid that there would be some trouble. After all, she was an ambitious and powerful woman. Chapter 2065. Wu Lingyu understood her worries. She already had a lot of things to do. Something else happened, she would be under too much pressure. Although he didn't want to be responsible for Fushi, Yu felt that he came to her specially and she felt that she should be responsible for him. Since she had made up her mind, he could only let her be. However, the Devil Realm had been begging him to go back. The situation there was not easy. Even he did not know if he could delay until Yue gathered the 4 cardinal deity seal. He wanted to tell her the whereabouts of the 4 directions divine seal, but even if he told her, she still wanted to go back to the Ghost King to verify the authenticity of the northern divine seal and go to him to get the eastern divine seal. Why don't I have the Ghost King tell her everything? Fushi did not know what the two of them were thinking as he was still immersed in the battle just now. He said excitedly, Yue, you used lightning to refine my body and made my body much stronger. When you were fighting just now, you didn't see me? He excitedly described the battle to them, but the two of them completely ignored him and let him talk to himself. In the end, Sima Yue could not be bothered with him anymore. She called Di Jiujio over and asked him about the result of the battle. Jiujio, how's the situation on your side? 2 brothers died and 30 were injured. 2 of them are seriously injured, Di Jiujio replied. Under such circumstances, the number of casualties was already very, very low. Give them good medicinal pills and let them recuperate. We'll return to the capital after they recover, Sima Yue said. Okay. Because some of them were seriously injured, Di Jiujio also planned to do so. Also, get someone to investigate and see if you can find out more. Blue River has been operating here for so many years, so there shouldn't be just these people. We need to dig deeper. Yes, little princess. In order to trace the whereabouts of Lung Feng and the others, Di Jiujio brought people who were good at tracking. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to find out so much about Blue River in such a short amount of time. As long as they were given time, they would be able to dig deeper. The next morning, Xiaoling went to look for Sima Yue, worried that she might have been injured in the battle last night. When she saw that Sima Yue was doing well, she asked her to continue teaching her how to cook. Sima Yue spent the rest of the time in the inn. The shopkeeper and the waiter had fled, and they had openly occupied this place. She usually helped Lung Feng and the others recuperate and listened to Di Jiujio's report. She basically spent the rest of her time teaching him how to cook. Xiaoling knew that Sima Yue wouldn't be staying here for long, so she kept teaching and learning. He wanted to learn more dishes before she left. Sima Yue also took Lung Feng and the others' health into consideration when she taught them. She chose some dishes such as medicinal porridge which were good for their health. She also wanted to take this opportunity to help them recuperate. Lung Feng and the others benefited. No matter if it was Sima Yue or Xiaoling, the dishes cooked by them were all delicious. These dishes finally entered their stomachs, which made their thin bodies gain some weight. On this day when Sima Yue and Xiaoling were cooking in the kitchen, Xiaoling talked about the 3 venerables. Sima Yue asked him why no one cared about her making such a big noise in the Nether Sea City. Uncle and Su Wu spoke to another supremacy and told him not to interfere in these matters. Knowing your identity, they turned a blind eye to it, Xiaoling explained. It turns out that they went to say hello. In this way, I owe you 2 a favor again. Sima Yue said. I don't know about Su Wu, but I was a little surprised that my uncle asked for help. According to his character before, he would keep silent at most. But when I went to talk to him that day, he said that he had already said hello. Xiaoling was a little surprised when he said this, which was not in line with his uncle's character. Could it be that he was helping her because she was his master? Before I leave, I will definitely go to thank them in person, Sima Yue said. Hearing that she was leaving, Xiaoling's mood fell a lot, and he was not in the mood to make the noodles in his hand. He stopped what he was doing and asked, Master, have you decided when to leave? The specific time hasn't been decided yet, but the approximate time has been decided. Sima Yue said, I have been here for more than half a month. Lung Feng and others are much better. There are still things waiting for me to do in the capital. I guess I will go back in 10 days. She wanted to go back to see how her grandfather was doing, to find the whereabouts of Sponge, and to find the square divinity seal to save her mother. These things were waiting for her to do, especially Sponge. The longer she delayed, the more she would be hurt. She had to find her as soon as possible. So soon? Xiaoling whispered. Yes. But don't worry, I will leave you the recipe. But I haven't finished it yet. I will give it to you before I leave, Sima Yue said. Xiaoling answered weakly. He didn't know why, but when he heard that she was leaving, his heart suddenly felt a little empty. It seemed that once she left, there was no meaning for him to stay in this city. But wasn't this the place where he had lived for hundreds of years? Why couldn't it compare with the half a month she had stayed here? In this case, he had to reconsider the advice his uncle gave him before. Master, will you go to the infernal hell in the future? Sima Yue thought he knew about her mother, but when she looked at him, she found that his eyes were not inquiring but surprised. She asked calmly, Why are you asking me this question? Master, I have to go back. Xiaoling said, Uncle told me that he was going to the infernal hell. He asked me if I wanted to go with him. At first, I didn't want to go back. But now it seems that there is no meaning for me to stay here. Besides, I have been away from home for hundreds of years. It is time for me to go back. Your uncle is going back to the infernal hell? Didn't you say that he has been living here? I was also surprised to hear this news. But uncle has already made his decision. No one can change his mind. I was going to ask you if you knew something. Xiaoling said. How would I know anything? Sima Yue smiled, hiding the awkwardness in her heart. She thought to herself, that guy wouldn't go back because of her mother, right? Could it be that she had found a love rival for her father? But most people didn't know where her mother was sealed. Even if he went back, it would be useless. She would just let him look for it. With this thought, her worry for her father calmed down. Chapter 2066. When Sima Yue went to his residence, it was confirmed that Sima Yue wanted to return to the abyss of hell. He gave her the contact information for abyss. If the Venerable goes back, what will happen to the people here? Sima Yue asked. If I leave, someone else will take over. Don't worry about their safety. But it should be chaotic for a while. Silma replied, I've been here for too long. I used to want the environment here, but now I've realized that I've been trapped here for too long. Then when will you go back? After you leave. You've caused such a big commotion here. So many people have died. Dark Ocean City will have a big change. If I leave, Dark Ocean City will probably be turned upside down. Silmer, as the protector, had accepted the offerings of the people below, so he naturally had to think about them. Cough cough. Sima Yue was a bit embarrassed. She didn't want to be so high profile, but who told Blue River to provoke her? Silmer glanced at her and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. She really was like her mother. 10 days later, Sima Yue handed a thick cookbook to Xiaoling. Xiaoling looked at the cookbook and was a bit confused. Master, how many dishes do you have? He thought that after learning from her for so long, he should have learned most of them. He didn't think that there would be so many. There should be a few hundred. Sima Yue said, Some of them are what I've already taught you. Some of them are what I haven't told you yet. The ones I haven't told you are relatively simple. Just follow the instructions in the cookbook and you'll be fine. Xiaoling understood. Because she couldn't be by his side to teach him, she had taught him all her skills. Master, thank you. He looked at her emotionally. The cookbook in his hand was unusually heavy. Although we haven't been together for long, I hope that your dishes are as good as your character. Yes, this disciple will follow Master's teachings. Xiaoling bowed. Sima Yue nodded in satisfaction. Master, last time I asked if you would go to Abyss, you still haven't answered me. Xiaoling said. Add _250_left. I will. Sima Yue said, although I don't know the time, I will definitely go. Then I'll go back and open a restaurant. Master, you must come. Xiao Ling felt motivated again. The restaurant must have good wine. Sima Yue passed him another booklet. Xiao Gao took the booklet. Compared to the thick cookbook, this one was much thinner. He didn't ask what was inside and directly opened it. Seeing the contents, he said excitedly, Master, this is the method you used to brew fruit wine? Yes, Sima Yue said, because of time constraints, I didn't write many categories. However, I think that with your ability, it shouldn't be a problem for you to draw inferences about other cases from one instance. With this method, he would be able to try brewing other types of spirit fruits in the future. Master, I will definitely brew a fruit wine as delicious as those. Xiao Ling held the recipe and wine recipe and said excitedly. Alright, I'll wait. I hope that the next time we meet, I'll be able to drink the fruit wine you brew. Sima Yue said with a smile. Don't worry, I will definitely. Xiao Ling said confidently. Although there is a lot of spirit energy in the dishes, you can't just rely on this. Your main life is still to cultivate. Sima Yue said, the longer you live, the more time you have to make delicious food. Xiao Ling's heart trembled. In the past, there were people who told him that cooking was useless and that he shouldn't spend too much time on it. They also said that he was neglecting his job and that he would regret it sooner or later. His parents saw that he was obsessed with cooking and his strength was growing slowly. They were very anxious and wanted to stop him from continuing, so they threw him to his uncle. Luckily, his uncle didn't care about him. He had more freedom here and opened a restaurant. Every day no one would nag him when he cooked. He always felt that he was pursuing his dream. Even if his strength grew slowly, he didn't care. Wasn't life meant to pursue one's dream? Therefore, he never regretted that he neglected his cultivation. However, her words enlightened him, and the resistance he had towards cultivation all this time vanished like smoke in thin air. Master's words were reasonable. The higher one's strength, the longer one could live. Then wouldn't he be able to cook for a longer time? It seemed that he would have to spend more time on cultivation when he went back. And as long as he was willing to cultivate, his mother and the others wouldn't forbid him from cooking. Previously, he was worried that he would have to go through a lot of trouble to open a restaurant. Now he didn't have to worry at all. He took out a token and handed it to Sima Yue saying, Master, take this token. When you go to the Avicii Hell, you can mobilize all the people and things in the shop with this symbol. Sima Yue accepted it. Although she might not use it, the other party would feel that she accepted it. Speaking of which, she had received a lot of tokens like this, but she rarely used them. Xiao Ling sent them out of Dark Sea City. Seeing them leave, he put away his reluctance and returned to the city to find Silmer. Silmer had already arranged everything here. He said that he was waiting for them to leave for the stability of the city, but in fact, it was just to not let her think too much. She was his daughter, so he had to protect her. Uncle, Master has left. Xiao Ling said. Yes, let's go. Silmer took out a disc and injected spiritual power. The light emitted from the disc formed a passage in the air. When the passage was completely formed, he put away the disc and walked in first. Xiao Ling went in after him, followed by their guards and manservants. When the light dissipated, all of them left. The tripartite balance that had formed in Dark Sea City for many years was broken up. As soon as Silmer left, Su Wu and the others felt it. Although they didn't know why he left, their intuition told them that it had something to do with Sima Yue. She really messed up the water of Dark Sea City. He sighed. However, this also gave him a chance. The tripartite balance was broken, and in the future, it would be two sides fighting for hegemony. And he had to be faster and take the lead. When the situation in Dark Sea City changed, the people in the city knew how much Sima Yue's arrival had affected them. Sima Yue and others rushed all the way back to the capital from Dark Sea City. Deja had found out the whereabouts of Sponge. Sima Yue brought Lung Feng and others back to Yuhua Palace. Soon Deja, who got the news, came to find her. When Lung Yun saw her brother, she was so excited that she couldn't speak. The others were also excited. They didn't expect to see each other again in this life. Sima Yue asked them to have a good chat, and she went to her mother's study with Deja. Chapter 2067. Deja looked at Sima Yue. Ever since she went to the ancient battlefield with Yuan Wan, he hadn't seen her for so many years. How's your stay in the Yin sect? He sat beside her and asked softly. Every time Dee saw him like this, he couldn't get used to it. The difference between the Demon King and the Warm Brother was too big. His gentleness and his murderous aura were too different. Seeing him like this, who would have thought that he had just killed more than 10 people half an hour ago? Although he had washed up before coming, Sima Yue could still smell the faint scent of blood. Not bad. You're just done? Yeah. Deja still had things to do, but they weren't as important as seeing her. Soul Society is about to make a move. You must be very busy these past few years. You're so busy, but I still need you to help me with these things. Sima Yue felt sorry for Deja. It's all right. I just sent some people out. Deja didn't think much of it. He was happy that she could rely on him. I'm here today to tell you about SpongeBob's whereabouts. You've already found her? There are two important men by Anaheim's side. One is Blue River, the other is Yuhao. I think she was given to Blue River at first, but Blue River rejected her. In the end, SpongeBob ended up in Yuhao's hands. A prince actually used a cauldron. Sima Yue said angrily. Actually, you should be glad that she was sent to Yuhao. If she was sent to other places, we probably wouldn't be able to find any information. Deja said. That's true. Only a place like Yuhao could find information. If she was sent to Blue River, she probably wouldn't be able to find her whereabouts. Also, if she was sent to Yuhao, it would be much easier for her to capture someone. Dealing with Yuhao was much easier than dealing with Blue River. Do you need me to do it? Deja asked. No need. I'll go find Yuhao. Sima Yue said, you're so busy every day. You don't need to do such a small thing. Deja smiled. Why do you think I'm so busy? You don't have to hide it from me. I know that my grandfather is in closed-door cultivation now. Anaheim is getting impatient. The Soul Society is constantly making moves. There are internal and external troubles now. You are the one taking care of everything. I know how much pressure you are under. Sima Yue felt sorry for Deja. There were so many things, but he had to deal with them alone. She had asked him to investigate the whereabouts of Lung Feng and Sponge, which had begun to increase his workload. How could she bear to ask him to deal with the important matters? Deja was indeed busy and he knew her ability, so he didn't rush to do it. He nodded slightly and said, let me know if you need anything. I will. How long can you stay this time? After talking about business, Deja began to care about her whereabouts. He hoped that she would not be so tired and that she could rescue his aunt as soon as possible. I shouldn't be staying for long. Sima Yue said, I have already broken through to Venerable Ming and met my grandfather's requirements. I came back this time to save Sponge, but more importantly, I want my grandfather to verify the authenticity of the North God Seal and tell me the whereabouts of the other 3 God Seals. As long as I get the information I want, I will go and find the 4 God Seal. Then you will be very busy in the future. Deja said. He wanted to help her find the 4 God Seal, but he was in a terrible situation now. He really couldn't spare so many people for such a big matter. Grandfather said that he knows the whereabouts of the 3 God Seals. As long as I know where they are, I can get them without any problems. Sima Yue said, I am most worried about the North God Seal now. Only if the North God Seal is real will the whereabouts of the other 3 God Seals be useful. If the North God Seal is fake, I don't need to consider the other 3 God Seals. I have heard that the North God Seal has been missing for many years. Deja said, how did you get the North God Seal? Fushi said that when he came to the Ghost Realm, he happened to fall into a quagmire and was separated by the 4 God Seal. Well, actually his original words were, I don't know what Master and the others did. They threw me into that kind of place and scattered the mud all over my body. They even used something to block my butt and almost split me into 4 parts. When I go back, I must have a good talk with them about this matter. It has been missing for so long, but it was found in a quagmire. This is too mysterious, Dee said. The more mysterious it is, the more likely it is. Deja said, after all, it is possible for something that has been missing for so long to appear in any form. Mou said that the 4 God Seals can sense each other. Since my grandfather has the East God Seal, I will wait for my grandfather to come out and let him verify it. Sima Yue said, is my grandfather in seclusion now? Should be. He hasn't come out for many years. Otherwise Anaheim wouldn't be so rampant now. Deja's tone became a little low when he mentioned Anaheim. But my grandfather just hasn't come out. It doesn't mean that he is in seclusion. You won't see anyone else, but you can try. Well, let's try to save Sponge. Sima Yue said. Okay. There should be a celebration in Yuhua Palace tonight. If you don't have anything urgent to deal with, why don't you stay and join us? Deja hesitated for 2 seconds and nodded. In the evening, Xiu and Leng Yun cooked a lot of food. Hai Xing and Hai Shi also came out and learned that they had been taking care of Sima Yue for more than 20 years. They also knew that their clan had been exterminated. The people in Yuhua Palace were very good to them. The celebration lasted until late at night. Although the palace gate was closed, Deja still left with Di. Sima Yue asked Shiyu and the others to clean up the mess. She called Hai Xing and Hai Shi to the front and told them about Sponge. Knowing that Sponge was in the palace, the siblings were very excited. But they both understood that they couldn't act casually now. If they acted rashly, they wouldn't be able to save Sponge. Not only would they lose their lives, but they would also implicate their master. I will ask the bees to find out Sponge's exact whereabouts tonight. Once there is news, we can go to see her and save her. You can't do anything when there is no definite news, understand? Sima Yue reminded the two. We understand. Aishi replied. Master, little ant fell into the hands of little highness, she. Hai Xing bit her lips and didn't ask the rest of her words. However, Sima Yue understood her meaning and didn't hide it. Yu Hao has always had a hobby of abusing people, so I will ask the bees to hurry up. Thank you, master. The scarlet bees acted very quickly. The next evening they brought back the news of Sponge. Chapter 2068. Sima Yue casually brought her people to Yu Hao's palace. When Yu Hao heard that Sima Yue was here, he had just gotten out of bed and did not even have time to pull up his pants. When he heard that Sima Yue was here, his hands trembled and his pants almost fell off. He stared at the palace maid and said in disbelief, Who did you say was here? Little Princess Sima Yue. The palace maid replied. I didn't look for her and she still dares to look for me? Yu Hao shouted, No, when did she come back? She came back yesterday. If she came back yesterday, why did she come to look for me? I didn't bully that scum in youthful palace recently. Yu Hao was confused. He did not provoke her, so why did she come to look for him the moment she came back? Little Highness, little princess said that she is waiting for you. If you don't go, she won't leave. The palace maid said, Little Highness, why? Isn't it just to see her? Fine, I'll go. This is my palace, why should I be afraid of her? Yu Hao pulled up his pants and fastened his belt. He took a deep breath and pretended that he was not afraid as he went out. However, the courage he put up disappeared when he saw Sima Yue. Looking at her reminded him of the lightning tribulation that year. At that time, it was his grandmother who blocked all the lightning tribulation for him. Even though his grandmother was so powerful, she was still injured by the lightning tribulation. He was dumbfounded and did not dare to imagine what it would have been like if the lightning tribulation had landed on him. Especially now, seeing her smile at him, he was reminded of the way she smiled at him that year. She smiled like that at that time. She looked harmless, but she had caused him and his grandmother to be so miserable. Thus, he subconsciously took a step back and looked at her warily. What do you want to do? Sima Yue was a little dizzy when she saw his big reaction. She just wanted to greet him and was prepared to use peaceful means before resorting to force. If he was willing to give her the sponge, she would not have to meet him on the battlefield. But why did it feel like she had done something to him? She had not even done anything yet. When Yu Hao saw that she didn't speak, he remembered that she only smiled and didn't speak at that time. He was so scared that he took 2 steps back. If it wasn't for the fact that this was his territory, he would have fled immediately. @_250_left. Why aren't you telling me why you're here? He asked again. Sima Yue knew that Yu Hao had become more obedient after that incident, but she did not expect him to be so frightened by her. The smile on her face deepened. Cousin, you don't have to be like this. I'm not here to fight with you this time. Then what are you doing here? Yu Hao didn't believe her. I'm here to ask you for someone, Sima Yue said. As long as you give me the person, I won't do anything. Really? Of course. Who do you want? Sponge. Who did you say you wanted? Sponge, your cauldron. Sima Yue said. Impossible. Yu Hao vetoed it immediately. He saw that the smile on her face had faded a lot, and she seemed to be angry. Her attitude was not as firm as before, but she still disagreed. Sponge can help me with my cultivation, but it's useless to you. If you want a cauldron, you can ask Deja to find a few men for you. Sima Yue's smile disappeared completely. She did not say anything, but only stared at Yu Hao with a dark expression. Yu Hao was scared by her stare. He felt as if he was surrounded by lightning again. He said weakly, It's true. She's a female cauldron. Even if I give her to you, it's useless. You have to find a man. I only want her. Sima Yue said, I know she's with you. Do you agree? Yu Hao think carefully. Where is she? I must take her with me today. I'm talking to you nicely now because I don't want to fight with you. If you're not willing, then I can only make a move first and then take her away. A smile appeared on Sima Yu's face again, but Yu Hao knew that she was angry. Furthermore, she would definitely keep her word. If he didn't give it to her, she would probably turn his palace upside down tonight. Don't be so anxious. He resisted the urge to run outside and said to Sima Yue, actually, it's not that I can't give her to you, but that, Sima Yue saw him stuttering and her heart sank, is Sponge dead? Not yet, not yet. Yu Hao quickly denied. He looked at Sima Yue carefully and said, but it's about time. When Sima Yue saw Sponge, the person on the ground was already breathing out more than in. Well, she wasn't very obedient, so I couldn't help but teach her a lesson. Yu Hao hid outside the door and explained softly. Sima Yue had already guessed that this would happen, so she was not surprised. Starfish's eyes turned red behind her. She tried her best not to cry out loud. Bring her back. Sima Yue waved her hand. High she went forward and carried the unconscious Sponge. She was so light. How could the little ant in front of him be so light? She had suffered so much all these years. Hai Shi's eyes turned red. He lowered his head, not allowing himself to look at Yu Hao. This way he could not reveal his murderous intent. Bring her back first. Sima Yue said. Master. I'll go back in a while. Starfish and Hai Shi only hesitated for a second before following her orders. This was the palace. Even Anaheim could not directly hurt her. They could bring Sponge back and treat her injuries first. Sima Yue came in front of Yu Hao and said with a smile, actually, we are cousins. I'm very grateful for what you did to Sponge. We are all adults. We can make our own decisions, right? Yu Hao immediately understood what she meant. He patted his chest and said, don't worry, grandmother will not care about this. I'm relieved to hear that. You're welcome to come to Youthful Palace to play in the future. Sima Yue patted Yu Hao's shoulder and turned to leave. Yu Hao froze when she touched his body. It was clearly a very gentle power, but he felt like it was extremely heavy. He was really afraid that if she slapped him, he would be turned into a pile of ashes. Little Highness, this person was given to you by the Queen. If you give it to her like this, if the Queen blames you. Mo Lu said worriedly from behind him. What's wrong with that? Since grandmother gave her to me, then I can do whatever I want with her. You saw the situation just now. Do we dare to make a move against her? What if she gets angry and slashes me here? Yu Hao turned around and glared at him. You useless fellows. Even if you die, you won't be able to save me. Then we're just going to let this matter go? This was not his usual style. Yu Hao also felt that this matter was different from his usual style. However, they had not seen the power of the lightning tribulation, so they could not understand his feelings. It was best to stay as far away from this demon as possible. Chapter 2069. Sima Yue returned to the Yuhua Palace, where Starfish and the others were cleaning Sponge's wounds. There was no place on Sponge's body that was intact. Starfish was crying while cleaning her wounds. Seeing Sima Yue coming back, Sponge looked at her with red eyes like a child. Sima Yue hadn't seen her like this for a long time. She walked over and checked Sponge's body first. Knowing that Starfish had already given her a pill, the only thing she could do now was to treat her wounds. However, Shiyu and the others didn't know medicine. Starfish's hands were shaking all the time, and she didn't know how to control her strength. She sighed and reached for the scissors in Starfish's hand. Leave it to me. All of you go out. She ordered and turned to cut Sponge's clothes. Let's go prepare hot water. Shiyu responded and went out with Leng Yun. Starfish hesitated for a while but still stayed and watched quietly. Sima Yue saw that she was not affected, so she didn't care about her. She cut off all Sponge's clothes with scissors, and the scars on her body could be seen. She cleaned her wounds and was about to apply medicine when she found that there was something wrong with her wounds. Starfish knew her well, and when she saw her hesitation, she knew that she had found something. Master, could it be that little ant? It's nothing. I just saw something strange about her scars. Sima Yue pointed to the 2 scars. Look at these 2 scars. The marks are already very faint, but you can still see that she made them herself. Little ant hurt herself? What? Sima Yue went to check Starfish's lower body again. After coming to a conclusion, she sighed in her heart. She's still a virgin. She said to Starfish, she probably made these wounds herself to disgust those men so that they won't touch her. In addition, she's not strong enough now, so even if she does dual cultivation, it won't have any effect, so she can? If she didn't think so, she couldn't think of any other reason for her to continue to be a virgin. Little ant she. Starfish looked at Sponge with heartache, feeling sad for her and glad for herself. If she hadn't followed her master, she wouldn't have been as miserable as Little Ant, using this method to protect herself. This was only temporary. Once she had the strength, even if she destroyed her own appearance, she would not be able to stop others from thirsting for power. @_250_left. Fortunately, Little Ant met Master at this time. In the future she would be able to cultivate without worry. She wouldn't crave for strength and be afraid of increasing her strength. Shiyu brought some hot water, and Sima Yue poured some medicine into the sponge. She then covered the sponge with a towel and carefully wiped the sponge's body. Little princess, let me do it. Shiyu felt that it was inappropriate for Sima Yue to do this for Sponge and wanted to replace her. Sponge's body is covered in wounds. You guys don't have a good grasp of her wounds. If you touch her wounds, it will hurt a lot. If it weren't for her discovery just now, she might have asked Shiyu to come. But now she felt a little sorry for this little girl who was about the same age as the starfish. After cleaning the wound, applying medicine and bandaging it, and wrapping the sponge into a mummy, he opened his eyes in a daze. She couldn't see the person in front of her clearly, but she could see the gentleness on her face. It was so warm and gentle that she couldn't help but cry. She called out weakly, "Mother?" Sima Yue's hand paused, then continued to tie the last knot. She wanted to say that she didn't have a daughter, but when she saw Sponge's exposed eyes, the words turned in her throat and came out as a gentle comfort. "It's okay. Have a good sleep. Everything will be fine when you wake up." Perhaps her voice was too gentle, or perhaps her presence gave Sponge a sense of security, but after hearing her words, Sponge fell asleep again. Sponge had a dream. She dreamed that she saw her mother again. This time the dream was more realistic than before. In the past, when she dreamed of her clansmen, there was only heart-wrenching pain in the dream. But this time she felt very at ease, as if everything in the past no longer existed. Her clan was not destroyed and she hadn't experienced so many things. However, her mother's face gradually turned into a stranger's face. She didn't know this person, but she felt that she was very warm. Moreover, those eyes were exactly the same as her mother's eyes. She couldn't tell if she had dreamed of her mother or only dreamed of this stranger. She tried hard to make herself see the person in front of her clearly, but it became more and more blurry. She reached out to grab her, but felt her hand being grabbed. She heard an anxious call. Someone was calling her Little Ant. Who would call her Little Ant? She must be hallucinating. At this point, she woke up from the dream. She slowly opened her eyes and saw a pair of worried eyes. "Little Ant, don't be afraid. I'm here." Starfish grabbed her hand and comforted her. "Little Ant?" It was the same name as in the dream, and so was the voice. "You are Starfish?" Sponge looked at Starfish hesitantly. After growing up, Starfish could still vaguely see her original appearance, but after so many years she didn't dare to recognize her. "Little Ant, it's me." Starfish smiled with tears in her eyes. "It's good that you're awake. It's good that you're awake. Where is this? Why am I here?" Sponge slowly remembered what had happened before. Thinking that she was being tortured by Yu Hao, she suddenly sat up, grabbed Starfish's hand and said, "Were you also caught by them? Did they do anything to you?" "Little Ant, don't worry. This is the Master's palace, not Yu Hao's. You're already out and I'm fine." Starfish grabbed her hand and comforted her. "Master's palace?" "Starfish, are you already?" "No, I'm fine," Starfish said. "How is that possible?" Starfish couldn't believe it. If she hadn't given in, how could she be dressed so beautifully and save her? "In the palace? You were also caught in the palace? Which prince caught you?" "Little Ant, this is the little princess palace, not the princess. My master is the little princess, not the prince." Starfish said, "Hi, she is also here. We're all fine." "Is it really the princess?" Sponge still didn't believe it. "It's really her. You even grabbed the master's hand and called her mother," Starfish said with a smile. Sponge remembered the gentle face she saw in a trance and was a little stunned. "Was it that woman? What's going on with you? I remember that you were auctioned off. Why are you here again?" "Don't worry, let me tell you slowly." Starfish told her everything after she met Sima Yue. Hearing that Sima Yue was really good to them, she was relieved. They were living much better than her. "Little Ant, the master said that if you are willing to stay, you can stay with us. We will work hard to cultivate in the future and destroy all the people who destroyed my family." Chapter 2070. SpongeBob felt that everything was too unreal. Before she fainted, she was still being abused. After she fainted, her life had completely changed. She didn't have to worry about what would happen tomorrow. She didn't have to be afraid that someone would target her. She could even think about revenge. She looked at the starfish. Her eyes were filled with hatred and hope. This was something she had never dared to think about. Infected by the hope in the starfish's eyes, she couldn't help but nod. "Starfish, your aunt woke up?" Shiyu came in and saw the two people talking. She smiled and said, "I heard the sound of conversation coming from the room. I guess that she should be awake. Now that she's finally fine, you don't have to worry anymore." This is Auntie Shiyu." The starfish introduced Shiyu to SpongeBob. "During this period of time, other than me, Aunt Shiyu has been taking care of you." "Thank you, Aunt Shiyu." SpongeBob wanted to get up and thank Shiyu, but she was stopped by Shiyu. "Lie down properly and don't move around. The little princess said that you'll have to lie down for a long time before you recover." Shiyu smiled at her. Although cultivators didn't have any opinions about whether a person was a virgin or not, Shiyu still admired her for using such a method to protect herself. She saw the exhaustion on the starfish's face and said, "You've taken care of her for so long. Now that she's awake, you should go and rest. I'll help you watch over here." Ever since SpongeBob had been unconscious for 7 or 8 days, her nerves had been very tense and she hadn't rested for a moment. Now that SpongeBob had woken up, it meant that she was fine. She could also go and rest. The starfish was indeed a little tired now. Since Shiyu mentioned it, she didn't stand on ceremony and left after saying goodbye to SpongeBob. However, before returning to her room, she went to look for Sima Yuyue. Sima Yuyue was in a daze while staring at a bottle of chaotic river water. Seeing her come in, she put down the bottle and asked, "She's awake?" "Anne is already awake. Thank you, Master, for saving her life." The starfish said gratefully, "You have a lot to thank for saving your life. You can repay it slowly in the future." Sima Yuyue said, "I will work hard to become stronger and repay my master." Starfish said to Sima Yuyue as well as to himself, "Okay, go and rest." Sima Yuyue saw that she was tired and did not ask her to talk. Starfish retreated and Leng Yun came in with Deja. "Is this the Chaos River water you mentioned?" Deja walked over and looked at the bottle in front of her. "Yes." Sima Yuyue passed the bottle to him. He picked it up and felt it. "Indeed, I can sense some unique powers. But is this really useful to grandfather?" No matter how he looked at it, the primal chaos water did not seem to be compatible with the heavenly Tao. Sima Yuyue was not confident either. "I don't know if it will be useful. I haven't seen my grandfather since he went into seclusion. I don't know how he is now. I can only say that having a solution is better than not having one. That's the only way." Deja said, "There's something going on at the border. I have to go there. Don't go out casually in the imperial capital." "What happened at the Soul Society?" "Something happened at the Ruin Valley. That's why the people under him have no leader. I'll go and see if I can take the opportunity to give Che-He a lesson so that he won't always find trouble for me." Deja did not intend to hide it from her. "Ruin Valley?" Sima Yuyue raised her eyebrows. "Look at your expression. What did you think of?" Deja asked. "Mo, you should have told you about what happened at the Triangular region." "You mean that medicinal herb? You think that it has something to do with what happened at the Ruin Valley?" "I'm not sure if it has anything to do with it. But if it's about this, you can make use of it." Sima Yuyue smiled and said, "Oh, even if it's not about this, you can still make use of it." Deja smiled. This was a good idea. Why didn't he think of making use of it before? This little brat was still thinking too much. News about the clear snow lotus had not spread out yet. That was why only those old fellows in the Triangular region went to find trouble with him. With Che-He's protection, those old fellows did not get any benefits. The people in the Triangular region could only act like a tyrant within their own region. Even if they did not care, it was only limited to the Triangular region. In the outside world, their status was not that high. As the general of the Soul Society, Che-He had many capable people under him. It was more than enough to protect one person. However, he did not know if he could still protect the Ruin Valley well when all the old fellows in the continent went there. Thinking about this, his depressed mood became better. He could not sit still anymore. He stood up and said, "I'll go back and discuss with them. Then I'll rush over. If there's anything, you can contact me." "Okay." Sima Yuyue said, "Take these things with you." She took out a space ring and passed it to Deja. "What's this?" Deja took it and asked. "Some pills. Some elixirs that can heal the soul quickly." Sima Yuyue said, The people in the Soul Society are good at healing the soul. These things are good for the soul. I've marked the levels inside. There's only so much of the highest level. Don't give it to anyone. She had made many pills that were targeted at the soul. Then she gave him some soul fluid and some essence from Elder Bai. She had a lot of soul fluid, so she gave him a lot. However, Elder Bai's essence was for Deja to save his life. Deja heard her telling Elder Bai that and was surprised that she even had the essence of the spirit tree. However, he did not ask anything. He promised that he would keep it for his life and not use it casually before leaving. Sima Yue was alone again. She continued to study the chaotic river. She felt that the river water, as the origin of life, should have many unknown uses. If she could really study it, it might be useful. After studying it for a while, she put down the river water and stared at it in a daze. Wu Lingyu had left for a few days to contact the people in the demon world. She knew that something had happened in the demon world. However, Wu Lingyu did not say anything. She did not know how serious it was. She could feel that he was worried about the demon world. She should let him go back to settle his own matters. However, when she thought about how long they would be apart, she was very reluctant to part with him. What are you thinking about? The familiar hug made her come back to her senses. You're back so soon? Sima Yue leaned into his arms. Yes, I'm back. Wu Lingyu said, you were frowning just now. What happened? Sima Yue turned around and faced him. She put her hands around his neck and said, Lingyu, go back to the demon world. You despise me and want to chase me away? Wu Lingyu pretended to be sad and said, who despises you? I can't wait for you to be by my side. Sima Yue pouted. She suddenly felt a little sad. Chapter 2071. She pouted and Wu Lingyu's heart ached. He stopped joking with her and hugged her even tighter. He kissed her forehead and said gently, don't be sad, I won't leave you. I'm not sad. Sima Yue said. Her nose was still sore. Being surrounded by him so gently, her heart wasn't as strong as usual. Wu Lingyu laughed. He leaned over and kissed her lips, kissing away her words and emotions. After a long time he finally let go of her. Seeing her red and swollen lips and dazed eyes, he smiled with satisfaction. Sima Yue saw his smiling eyes and pinched his waist. She threatened, don't laugh. I'm not laughing. Wu Lingyu denied. Sima Yue snorted with a straight face, you're not laughing, you're almost laughing out loud. Heaven and earth can be my witness, I'm really not laughing. Wu Lingyu carried her to sit on a stool and let her sit on his lap. I'm just very happy that you won't be willing to part with me. I'm not. A certain person denied in a small voice. It's good that I know whether you are or not. Wu Lingyu said. Sima Yue didn't want to argue with him. She hugged his neck. I was serious just now. You should go back to the devil world. No need, they can still handle it. Wu Lingyu was already very hesitant. Seeing her like that just now, he was even more reluctant to leave her. He could just leave everything else to others. But, don't worry, I know what to do. If the situation really goes out of control, I will go back. It's not that bad yet, so let me accompany you more. Wu Lingyu pinched her face. When have I ever ignored the big picture? But, there are no buts. You have to believe that my subordinates aren't all trash. You just have to take care of your own matters. Wu Lingyu said in a domineering tone. Add underscore to 50 underscore left. She leaned her head against his neck and smelled the familiar scent on his body. Her restless heart slowly calmed down. No matter how powerful others thought she was, no matter how strong she usually thought she was, she still wanted to rely on him. Even if he didn't do anything, she was still confident. Wu Lingyu felt that her emotions had calmed down. He turned his head and planted a kiss on her forehead, the corners of his mouth rising into a faint smile. In the following days, Sima Yue felt that Wu Lingyu was even busier. She would not see her for a few days and would leave after a short while. She wanted to go with Wu Lingyu, but Wu Lingyu didn't want her to worry about his matters. He only wanted her to do her own things, so he always left alone. She decided to find the Ghost King and rescue her mother as soon as possible so that she could follow him to the devil world. This way he would have no reason to refuse her. She went to the place where the Ghost King was in seclusion. She did not expect to see an Anaheim there, whom she had not seen since she came back. Speaking of which, the last time she met Anaheim was when she tricked Yu Hao. After she was struck by lightning, she was locked up for 3 days. It was said that she was in a sorry state when she came out. However, she did not come to find trouble with her. To be more precise, she did not openly find trouble with her. At that time, everyone knew that she could not be provoked. However, Anaheim did make a lot of moves in private. It was just that they did not have any effect. Anaheim also did not expect to meet Sima Yue here. When she thought about how came to find her a few days ago and said that he gave the human furnace to Sima Yue and asked her not to pursue the matter, she was angry. The grandson she held in her hands was so timid when he talked about Sima Yue. It was all her fault for scaring too much. She concealed the killing intent in her eyes and said with a calm face, "This is the place where the king is in seclusion. What are you doing here?" "Of course I'm here to find grandfather." Sima Yue was too lazy to even bow. Anyway, both parties knew that it was impossible for them to shake hands and make peace, so there was no need for them to do such things. "The king is in seclusion and will not see you." Anaheim said, "You should leave quickly and not disturb the king's seclusion." "If that's the case, what are you doing here, queen?" Sima Yue asked back. "I'm here to see if there's anything I can help the king." Anaheim said. "Oh, I'm also here to see if there's anything I can help grandfather." Sima Yue said, "Although I'm not strong enough, grandfather's strength is already the strongest. So if I want to help him, I can't just rely on strength." Anaheim looked at Sima Yue and narrowed her eyes. Sima Yue looked at her calmly. Who would be afraid of who if they were competing with eyes? If her eyes were not strong enough, she could make up for it with her age. Anaheim walked to her side and looked at her with disdain. She laughed coldly. "You think you'll be fine after finding the king? I'll remember all the things you've done." "Yue didn't do anything." Sima Yue blinked innocently. "Did I do something to make the queen angry? You know that I'm young and immature. If there's anything I've done wrong, please point it out to me. I'll definitely change in the future." Sima Yue's gaze was very pure, as if she really did not know what she had done. After saying that, she even smiled at Anaheim. "If you have the ability, then say it out and let everyone know what you've done. Then we'll see who's the one who's embarrassed." Anaheim could see the teasing in her eyes. Just as Sima Yue thought, she did not dare to say those things. If she did, she would only embarrass herself. Because of this, she was even angrier. She wanted to strangle this little slut to death every minute and every second. "Let's wait and see. Let's see how long you can be happy for." She was afraid that she would want to hit her if she continued, so she left with her people after saying those threatening words. "I'll let you be happy now. Anyway, you won't be happy for long. Yue, please send me off." Sima Yue said those words, but her body did not move at all. She watched as Anaheim left, and the smile on her face slowly disappeared. The way Anaheim looked at her just now was too abnormal. It was as if she was certain of something, which made her uneasy. She had to do a thorough investigation. "Little princess." The guard who had been quiet suddenly spoke, interrupting her thoughts. "Grandfather is in closed-door cultivation?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes." The guard replied, but before King went into closed-door cultivation, he met Lord Mou. King said that if little princess has already broken through to Underworld Paragon, you can go and find Lord Mou. "Find Mou?" "Yes," King said that the answer you want is with Lord Mou. The guard replied. "Is Mou in the capital?" "I don't know." "How's grandfather's situation?" "After King went into closed-door cultivation, there's no news, so we don't know." "I got it. If there's any news from grandfather, inform me immediately." "Yes, little princess." Before King went into closed-door cultivation, he said that if he was not around, they would only listen to Sima Yue, so they would carry out her orders well. Chapter 2072. Sima Yue went to the Emo family's power in the capital. Mou used to live here, but he happened to be away these days. He didn't know that she would return to the capital at this time. The people of the Emo family told her that they would help her contact Mou, but they couldn't guarantee when he would come back. Sima Yue knew Mou's erratic whereabouts and didn't force them, just let them do their best. Then she returned to the palace. As soon as she returned, Shiyu came to report to her, "Little princess, Sponge said that she wants to come and thank you." "Sponge has recovered?" Sima Yue remembered that Sponge had been brought back for a long time. The first time she treated Sponge, but later it was Starfish who treated her. Starfish learned her medical skills and poison skills very well in the Spirit Pagoda. "She has almost recovered, so she wants to thank you." Shiyu replied. "Then let her come." Sima Yue felt that she had nothing to do, so it was better to meet this little girl. Shiyu went out and ordered, then came back and stood behind Sima Yue. Master, do you want to leave Sponge? What do you think? Sima Yue asked. This slave has no idea, but I think she is a good person. However, her identity is a bit sensitive. After all, the queen bought her. And she was abused by the little highness. Although she is now given to the little princess, he didn't say anything, but as long as he sees Sponge appear in front of him, it will remind him of the past. Xiu expressed her opinion. Sima Yue raised an eyebrow. So? This slave's personal opinion is that Sponge can stay, but she can't stay with the master, nor can she stay in the palace. Xiu said. Look at you, you have thought of a good place for her. Sima Yue smiled. Tell me about it. The general has a special place to train people. As long as they can stick to it, they will be very powerful when they come out. Xiu said. Cousin's training camp? I heard that it is very strict there. Sima Yue said. Although Sponge has the same physique, she's not much older than Starfish and the others. She's also been through all these years, so she doesn't have much strength. Can we go to that place? The other side will make a plan according to her situation. Although it's very harsh, as long as she has perseverance, she can persevere. I believe she can do it. Xiu was more confident in Sponge. In fact, this way out was something that they had come up with together. Starfish and Hai-Shi both felt that it was too dangerous for Sponge to stay in the palace, and it would bring trouble to Sima Yue. It was best for Sponge to leave the palace. It was Lung Feng's idea to go to Dija's place. He had talked a lot with Di Juju last time, so he knew something about the Di family army. Therefore he made such a suggestion. Hai-Shi didn't quite agree and felt a little worried, but the others thought it was a good idea. It was not good for him to stay by Sima Yue's side or in the palace. It was not safe for him to go out without a strong place. It was best for him to go to Dija's training camp. Starfish came in with Sponge. Sponge knelt down in front of Sima Yue, kowtowed 3 times and said, Thank you for saving my life, little princess. Get up. Sima Yue let her get up. It seems that you have recovered well. Starfish and the others can rest assured. I know that little princess saved me for Starfish and the others. Starfish and the others are lucky to be able to follow a master like you. Sponge felt lucky for them that they did not experience the same thing as her. I heard that you have already discussed it. Are you sure you want to go to my cousin's place? Sima Yue asked her. If little princess agrees, I want to go. Sponge said, If little princess asks me to do something else, I am willing. She was not one of Sima Yue's people now, but she would listen to Sima Yue. If you think you can persist, it is indeed better to go there. At least when you come out, you will have the strength to protect yourself. Sima Yue said, I will inform my cousin's side and ask them to pick you up later. Thank you, little princess. Sponge said gratefully. She wanted to go to Dija's training camp. Even though she had suffered for more than 20 years, she had heard the legends about it. The devilish training, the generous training resources, as long as the people who went in could survive, they could be called masters. However, the process took a long time, so there were not many people who came out of the training camp. If you go to my cousin's side, you will be his person in the future. Sima Yue reminded her. She did not need too many people. She wanted Sponge to go there and treat Dija as her master. Sponge understands. She knew what Sima Yue meant. She would be Dija's person in the future. He was her only master. She would only listen to him and could not have 2 masters at the same time. Then you should have a good chat with the Starfish and Hai-Shi. We will not see each other for a long time. Sima Yue said. Thank you, little princess. The Starfish and Sponge went out. Sima Yue asked Xiu to invite Di in. Di and Di were Dija's housekeepers. They were in charge of everything. Therefore, Dija usually did not take them with him when he left. When Di entered the palace, Sima Yue told him about Sponge's situation. Di had never seen Sponge before. However, he was the one who went through the investigation. Therefore, he naturally knew about Sponge's situation. Little princess, I can arrange for her to go in. However, the training there is too intense. She is a girl. Is it good for her to go there? Di said. Are you afraid that she will not be able to persist? Sima Yue asked. Yes, even many men couldn't persevere in there. Di admitted. How do you know if you don't try? Sima Yue said. Maybe she will be able to persist. Since little princess says so, I will take her there. Di agreed. I have already told her that once she goes there, she will be one of my cousin's people. In the future, other than the news of life and death, there is no need to tell me anything. Sima Yue said. The news of death was only to let the Starfish and the others know about Sponge's situation. De understood what she meant and nodded his head. Sima Yue asked Shiyu to bring sponge and hand her to De. De took her away. The starfish and Haishi sent them out. When the two came back, their eyes were a little red. She is very lucky to be like this. Shiyu comforted the two. We understand. It's just that when we think of being separated again after such a short time, we are a little sad. The starfish pursed his lips and made himself smile. Leng Yun came in from the outside and saluted to Sima Yue. Little Princess Lord Mo is here. Sima Yue was stunned. She had just returned to the palace from the Mo clan and he came here. The speed was too fast. Chapter 2073. Was there even a need to consider such a good thing? Of course, the old man was 100% willing. Moreover, this little girl was quite easygoing, so she should not be a difficult person to get along with. Not only would he not have to use a year's worth of labor in exchange for the city entrance fee, but he would also not have to spend a year's worth of his own expenses. Such a good thing could not be found anywhere else. If he rejected it, he would not be a normal person. Looks like you agree. That's it then, Sima Yue said. Thank you, really, thank you so much. The old man was very excited. He knew that Sima Yue was doing this to help him. Being a guide was just a nice way to put it. Sima Yue smiled. She really just wanted to find someone to understand the situation, and the city entrance fee was just a bonus. Since the queue is still long, why don't you tell me about the situation here? All right. Following the old man's explanation, Sima Yue finally knew where she was. Fragrant City, Wuxiang's second base camp. Most of the time he was not in the imperial capital. If she was lucky, she would be able to meet him here. However, when the old man heard her asking about Wuxiang, he immediately shattered her fantasies. Commander Hua is definitely not in Fragrant City recently. Why? Recently, the Azure Dragon Spirit Domain Genius Selection Competition will be held. Every time, Commander Mu will personally attend it. If you are chosen by him, you will be able to reach the top in the Spirit Domain in one step. Genius Selection Competition? Where is it held? It seems to be held in a city near the imperial capital. How would we know about this kind of thing? The old man couldn't help but laugh. Isn't this announced? Sima Yue asked in surprise. There's no need to announce it. The truly powerful people are the people in those factions. They already know about it, so there's no need to announce it. What if there are other geniuses? This kind of situation is very rare. You all know what will happen to those souls when they come here. The talented ones will all be chosen. Even if the remaining ones survive, they won't be able to participate in such an event. Since it's a genius selection competition, not everyone can enter. Usually they will be recommended. Alright, there was no need to announce this to the world. Even if there were one or two geniuses who missed out, it wouldn't matter. Anyway, they couldn't recruit all the geniuses in the world. Is she the only one recruiting? If I remember correctly, there should be 2 commanders here. Are you talking about Mu Luo Feng? He's already recruited. This time, it's only Commander Hua who recruited, the old man replied. However, I heard that Commander Hua invited Commander Mu to watch. So, they're together now. Should be. But we don't know the whereabouts of the commanders. Who knows if he's still here or not? Regardless of whether he's here or not, I have to go take a look. Sima Yue smiled. There was no news before, but now there was news. They chatted as they slowly walked towards the city. Before the sky turned dark, it was finally their turn. Sima Yue handed over the money for 3 people. The city guard looked at the 3 of them, nodded, and let them pass. After they entered the city, he immediately gave up his position to someone else and hurried into the city to report. Sima Yue didn't know that she was being watched. She brought the old man to find an inn. Soon, the news of them checking in was spread to the city lord's mansion. In the mansion, a man in white sat on the main seat. He looked at the person kneeling before him and asked, "Is the news true? Are you sure it's those 2 people?" Envoy by, "Those 2 people are exactly the same as in the portrait," the person kneeling on the ground replied. "These people are really bold. They even dare to come to Fragrance-less City after capturing Nan Yu Miao." White Rose sneered. "Did you see Nan Yu Miao?" "No. Let me guess. They probably put him in a soul stone." "Well, you guys pay close attention to their whereabouts. Although I don't like Nan Yu Miao, he's still the commander's man. Now that he's been arrested, we've all lost face along with him. Be careful, don't let them find out." "Yes, Envoy by." The person kneeling on the ground got up and left. After the guard beside White Rose left, she complained, "Master, why didn't you take the opportunity to get rid of him? Instead, you wasted your energy to save him?" "Save him? Who said I was going to save him?" White Rose sneered, "I just wanted to avenge him. He's the governor of a city after all, and he's following the same commander." "I understand." Nan Yumiao was not dead yet, and she already said that she wanted to avenge him. There was no doubt whether he could survive or not. There was only one ending waiting for him. They didn't know whether they would be the mastermind in the end. Sima Yue stayed in the city for 2 days. Seeing the fine weather every day, she asked Old Li, "Uncle Li, will the wind really blow like you said?" "I think the weather is quite good. It doesn't look like it's going to blow." She wanted to find Hua Wuxiang as soon as possible. If there was no wind, she wanted to go there immediately after finding out the news. "Don't just look at it. There are no signs. 3 days, it won't be more than 3 days later." "The wind is coming," Old Li said with certainty. Sima Yue saw that he was so sure, so she did not say anything else. "Miss, do you want to participate in the genius selection?" Old Li asked. Sima Yue nodded. Looking for Hua Wuxiang and the genius selection seemed to be the same. So be it if he misunderstood. It was not convenient to tell him about this anyway. Baidu's sister-in-law Semai. Float, Xing, extremely pampered wife, miracle doctor fifth young mistress, you don't have to rush. The genius selection will last for quite some time. We can rush there after the wind is over, Old Li said. Of course, we have to know the location of the selection first. That shouldn't be a problem. Isn't this Hua Wuxiang's base camp? Sima Yue said confidently. Others might not know about it, but in a place like the base camp, his people would definitely know more. It would be easier to find out information. However, what troubled her more was that the scarlet wasps would not be as useful in the future. According to Wu Lingyu's guess, it should be because the soul race did not have life, so they would be more sensitive to the appearance of living things. After all, the scarlet wasps could only hide their auras but not their lives. This was a major obstacle for her to find out information. It was also because of this that those who were in the city had come out to see if they could get any information. Wu Lingyu sat by the window, looked at the street outside and frowned slightly. Chapter 2074. Although he did not make it obvious, Sima Yue still noticed it. What's wrong? What did you see? Nothing. Wu Lingyu did not intend to tell her. She did not need to know about such trivial matters. However, Sima Yue knew him too well. She understood immediately after he said that. However, both of them had the same thought. It was just a trivial matter. Old Manly did not have such tacit understanding. He saw that Sima Yue was a little absent-minded and asked, "We have been sitting here for more than an hour and have not heard any useful information. Do you want to try another tea house?" Sima Yue shook her head. No need. When she was in Happiness City, she realized that people here did not like to drink tea. To be exact, people who had not condensed a physical body could not drink tea. As for those who condensed a physical body, perhaps due to physical reasons, they were not keen on drinking tea. Therefore, such tea houses were very rare. If it were not for the fact that this was Hua Wuxiang's base camp, perhaps even the few tea houses they went to today would not have it. Therefore, she did not get the information she wanted from these tea houses. Although she was a little disappointed, she was not surprised. Fragrant City was managed very well. Perhaps it was because this was his headquarters, and those people were forbidden from discussing his matters. What about the information we want? Old Manly asked worriedly. He was not worried that Sima Yue would miss the preliminaries. He was just worried that Sima Yue would not go there, and thus not hire him. She had promised to cover his expenses for a year. This way he could save a lot of money. This method won't work. Let's think of something else. Anyway, there are still 3 days before the wind season comes, and at least half a month before it comes. We will get the news eventually. We have been out for a day. Let's go back and rest first. They returned to the inn where they were staying. In order to avoid being noticed, they only asked for 2 rooms. Once Sima Yue returned to her room, she asked, "Is it the city lord's mansion or Hua Wuxiang's?" "I can't tell. But we have been targeted since the beginning," Wu Lingyu said. "It seems that there are more people today. Could it be that they can't wait to make their move?" Sima Yue frowned. Now was not a good time. The wind season was coming. If they left the city at this time, no matter where they were, they would not be able to arrive in 2 days. They had not experienced the wind season before, so they did not know how powerful it was. But when they thought about the endless stream of people entering the city, They knew that it was not going to be easy. They did not want to experience it unless it was necessary. @_250_left. But 2 days ago there were not so many people monitoring them. Now that the number of people had increased, did it represent the attitude of the ruler here? I can't say for sure. Let's wait and see. Wu Lingyu was not confident. Hua Wuxiang's people should know about what happened in Happiness City. Although they have been monitoring us, there has been no movement. This means that their attitude is also ambiguous. Yes. If they really come, there is nothing to worry about. At most, we can just hide in the small world. Yes. Tomorrow, I will go to the governor's office and the governor's office to take a look. Since they could not get information from the tea house, they had to think of another way. It seems that we can only do this now. The next day they dropped Old Man Li off at the inn and both of them left the inn. The people monitoring them immediately followed them. But after a while they realized that they had lost the 2 people. The 2 people following them looked around. After making sure that they had lost the 2 people, they went back with sullen faces. They did not expect to lose the 2 people so quickly. They were afraid that they would be in trouble when they went back. When White Rose heard that they had lost the 2 people, she only stayed silent for a second. Then, the guards beside her pulled out their swords and chopped the 2 people into ashes. Useless trash. White Rose's face darkened. Even if she killed these 2 people, she would not be able to vent her anger. Ambassador Bai, do you want to send someone else? The butler of the city lord's mansion asked. Even if we send someone else, we won't be able to find them. White Rose was not very interested in the whereabouts of Sima Yue and the others. What made him angry was that these people were so easily found. Now Sima Yue had ditched his men. This was a direct slap to his face. Ambassador Bai, it seems that they have found us. Should we make the first move to gain the upper hand? White Rose did not make a decision immediately. Instead, she asked, what happened in the city lord's mansion? Their people have also been found. If they hadn't sent someone to spy on them, they wouldn't have. The people of the city lord's mansion. White Rose's eyes were filled with coldness. It seemed that she had been holding a grudge against the people of the city lord's mansion for a long time. When will the city lord come out? According to the movement from the cultivation room, it should be within these 2 days. It should not be more than half a month. The butler replied. The wind season is coming soon. It is not a good thing to advance at this time. Our city lord also understands this. That is why he asked Ambassador Bai to help. Thinking of the city lord who was about to advance, White Rose suppressed the anger in her heart and said, continue to send people to Sima Yue. Stay away from them. The butler and the guards understood that she did not want to touch Sima Yue for the time being. It was really not a good time. However, from now until the end of the wind season, people could only enter the city but not leave. During this period of time they could only stay in the city. Once the city lord was promoted, she would have the time and energy to deal with them. Ambassador Bai, about the governor's mansion. The butler mentioned the governor's mansion. They had a rough idea of Sima Yue's strength. Although they did not put her in their eyes, it would still be difficult to take them down in the city. Most importantly, it would cause a huge commotion. It was very likely that it would affect the city lord's promotion. Therefore, at this time, not only could they not make a move, even the governor's mansion could not make a move. However, the city lord's mansion and the governor's mansion were not on good terms recently. If they were to ask them now, they might not listen. White Rose knew about the grudges between the 2 sides and understood the butler's worries. He was silent for a while and said, restrain the people from the city lord's mansion. I will talk to the governor's mansion. 360 Search Bien Fu. Shing. Calm doting wife. 5th Miss Miracle Doctor update fast. Thank you Ambassador Bai. The butler bowed to him gratefully. As long as he made a move, there would be no problem. Speaking of which, why did you 2 have a grudge against each other? The butler hesitated for a while and said, actually, it has something to do with the genius selection. Why is it related to this? The genius selection this time is being held in Great Liang, not here. Why is there a dispute because of this? So it was in Great Liang? The 2 people who heard the news in secret laughed silently. Chapter 2075. Sima Yue was not interested in the feud between the governor's office and the governor's office. In order not to be discovered, the 2 of them left quietly after they heard the news. But even so, they were almost discovered when they left. After returning, Sima Yue asked about the Great Liang city. Old Man Li was shocked. Are you sure it's the Great Liang City? Seeing Old Man Li's reaction, Sima Yue asked curiously, what's wrong with the Great Liang City? You don't know about the Great Liang City, Old Man Li sighed in his heart. The surrounding areas of the imperial capital are all flat and comfortable. Only the area around the Great Liang City is not only uneven, but there are also many dangerous places. Moreover, it's very strange. There are some places where people will disappear as they walk. So strange? Yes, and no matter how powerful the people are, they won't be able to find out the reason. As long as the people disappear, they will never appear again. Old Man Li was a little scared when he thought about this situation. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu looked at each other. They had the same curiosity and fear in their hearts. It seemed that the Soul Society was really different from other places. There were terrifying winds in a place like the Great Liang City. Since the Great Liang City is so dangerous, why is the genius selection held there? Sima Yue didn't understand. Is it to better select the geniuses? I don't think so. Wu Lingyu shook his head. Although they are geniuses, I don't think they are very strong. It's fine to lose 1 or 2 people, but if many people die, it won't be worth it. The real geniuses had already chosen their masters or had already started working for the Soul Society. They wouldn't have to wait for the selection. Therefore, the people who participated in the selection were naturally young and talented. However, the young people here were not calculated according to their age. They were calculated according to the time they came to the Soul Society. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. If everyone died or disappeared, it would be a great loss. Then why did he choose such a dangerous place? This time Old Man Li asked. She couldn't think of a reason either. Only the people in power would know. Maybe we will know something when we go there, Wu Lingyu said. You guys still want to go there? Old Man Li looked at them in surprise. Since we know where the genius selection is, of course we have to go there, Sima Yue said with certainty. Do you guys know that there are other dangers there besides these? I don't have to think to know. But this won't stop us. Sima Yue smiled. Moreover, how can there be so many safe places in this world? Look at how many people are safe today, but tomorrow they will be dead. A safe place doesn't mean there is no danger, and a dangerous place doesn't mean it is not safe. Uncle Li, shouldn't you feel this way the most? Old Man Li's body trembled. Sima Yue was right. Lone cultivators like them could feel it the most. If they were still alive today, who knew if they would come back tomorrow? Even if they were in a safer place, wouldn't they still face all kinds of dangers? Just like the gale this time, he had no money. He would either be blown to death by the gale, or he could only agree to do a year of forced labor. Either way he would die. Who knew what it would be like in Daliang City? Maybe he could even fight for a way out. But Sima Yue saw his uncertain expression and thought that he was unwilling. She said, if you don't want to go, we won't force you. After all, the road ahead is too dangerous. It's not that I don't want to go, but I don't know much about that place. But I have a friend there. If I go there, I can find her to understand the local situation. Old Man Li calculated in his heart and chose to go with them. It'll be easier if you have a friend. Sima Yue smiled. It would be much easier to leave the information to the locals if it was difficult for outsiders to inquire about it. Then we can set off when the wind is over, Old Man Li said. Seeing Sima Yue nod, his heart was finally at ease. He was really afraid that she would not bring him along. 2 days later, the originally clear sky suddenly changed. It turned from a sunny day to a gale in just a few minutes. When the wind started blowing, all the city gates were closed, and the city defense formation was immediately activated. People who had not entered the city in time were blocked outside the city. When the wind blew, they were all blown into the sky. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu stood by the window and watched the people who were blown into the sky disappear in a few seconds. They sighed at the power of the wind. Uncle Li is right, this wind is indeed a bit scary. If we were outside with my strength, I might not be able to withstand it without a trump card, Sima Yue sighed. This wind is so strange. It seems to be rising from the ground. Wu Lingyu had never seen such a situation before. That's right. I don't know what's going on. And I heard from Uncle Li that only the Azure Dragon Soul Realm has this. The other 3 places don't have it. Sima Yue was a little curious, but she did not have the energy to investigate it now. If you are interested, you can slowly investigate after we rescue your mother. Okay. She could only be curious now. When the wind is over, we will probably have to deal with those people, Wu Lingyu said. I wonder who will come first, the city lord's office or the governor's office. Old Man Li was now on the street, looking up at those people who were blown into the sky by the wind. A few of them were people he knew. He watched them struggle in the wind for a few times before they were torn apart by the wind. They turned into black smoke and disappeared forever. If he did not meet Sima Yue, if he did not want to serve as a slave, he would have ended up the same as them. So what if Daliang City was dangerous? At least he had a chance to survive. Even if he could not escape death in the end, he would still live for a few more days. He closed his eyes. When he opened them again, there was no more hesitation in his eyes. He turned around and returned to the inn. He wanted to tell Sima Yue something he knew. Sima Yue was surprised to hear his words. You said you found a mineral vein outside Daliang City? Is it true? Sima Yue asked. It's true. Old Manly nodded heavily. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have stayed there for so many years. Didn't you say that you are not familiar with that place? How did you know there was a mineral vein outside the city? Wu Lingyu asked. Because the incident was too tragic. We don't want to think about it again. It was that incident that made me realize that there are many places over there that people can disappear unknowingly. Recalling the situation at that time, he could not help but shudder. Chapter 2076. Old Manly recounted the events of the past slowly, his voice trembling with fear. I entered Daliang Mountain with them. Everything was fine at first, but when we arrived at the ore mine, we realized that there really was the aura of a mineral vein there. We went crazy. As a rogue cultivator, you guys probably can't imagine how difficult it is to live here. That's why when danger came, none of us realized it. More than half of us died one after another. Only then did we recover from our madness. This isn't a treasure trove, it's a forbidden land of death. Hence, some people started to retreat. The rest of us split into two groups. Some wanted to go back and some wanted to open up the mine. We thought that even the two of us were going to die in there, but we didn't expect to escape in the end. After confirming that we had left that area and could no longer feel the chill, we were sure that we were really alive. Old Manly continued. After that, I left that place. My friend went to Daliang City. We would occasionally contact each other. He said that the place was discovered by others later on. However, those people ended up the same as us. They didn't get anything. Moreover, many of them were completely wiped out. None. But they've been put under surveillance, Old Manly said. It's not impossible. Wu Lingyu also thought of this. I wonder if they have the ability to solve this problem. Sima Yue smiled somewhat devilishly. Of course. How could she ignore the fact that she knew the whereabouts of the treasure? This was too unlike her style. With their current hostile relationship, of course, she hoped that they could not do it. As long as it could affect Mahi a little, she would be willing to do it. Old Manly saw that the two of them still wanted to go to the mineral vein. He was shocked and blurted out, I'm telling you this so that you can have a certain understanding of the other side, so that you can be a little mentally prepared. We know, but how can we just give up when we know that there's a treasure? We know, that's why we didn't plan to go to Daliang City as soon as we arrived, Sima Yue said seriously. Chapter 2077. Sima Yue walked around Midnight City. She was not used to seeing so many spirits floating around. Although she was the same as well. There were no tea houses or restaurants here. People who had not materialized their physical bodies could not drink or eat. However, there were many shops. Especially the things that could increase one's strength. Although they were expensive, they were very popular. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu suppressed their strength. Hence they looked like ordinary people. Even when they went to the shops, no one greeted them. After walking around, they returned to the inn and realized that someone had entered their room. The things in the room seemed to be the same as before. However, Sima Yue was very sensitive to details. Not to mention there was a faint smell in the room. Wu Lingyu went to open the window to let the smell dissipate. This smell is familiar. I seem to have smelled it somewhere before. Sima Yue recalled. She remembered a face that was hidden in a beard. Seems like someone is very interested in us. Not us. Too. Wu Lingyu said, my soul doesn't have such a seductive smell. Sima Yue shrugged, are you blaming me? Her soul had a seductive smell. She knew it when she met Yudu in the Wonderland. When she was in the ghost realm, only a few people would consume souls. Furthermore, she had a high status and was very strong. Hence, no one dared to do anything to her. Now that she was in the soul society, special souls would be noticed. Even if she suppressed her strength and aura, she still could not escape the nose of some special people. She knew that there would be people interested in her soul when she came here. However, she did not expect it to be so fast. This was just a city at the border. If they went deeper into the Soul Society, they would probably meet many more people. Buzz buzz buzz. Suddenly, a sound came from the sky outside the city and interrupted their conversation. They looked out of the window and saw many people rushing out of the city. What's going on? They all look very excited. Sima Yue looked at the crowd below. Let's go and take a look. Wu Lingyu pulled her and flew out. They landed on the street and joined the group. The noises in the air continued to ring out. They realized that the more time passed, the more agitated the people around them became. They kept running outside and no one was willing to stop even if they wanted to find someone to ask. When they reached the outskirts of the city, Sima Yue finally understood why these people were so excited. In a huge open space, some faint shadows appeared. The wounds on their bodies were still fresh, indicating that they had just arrived. She and Wu Lingyu looked at each other. This was the first time they had encountered such a situation. Those souls were still in a daze and didn't know where they were. Sima Yue saw many people swallowing their saliva as they stared at the souls with sparkling eyes. She thought that they would go up and divide the souls among themselves, but they held themselves back and did not move. Where is this? Were we? Why are there so many people here? Hundreds of souls stood in place, not knowing where they were, not knowing who they were, and not knowing what they were going to face. But in the face of such a situation, their instincts made them afraid. They wanted to escape, but an army immediately ran over and surrounded them. Who are you? What are you doing? Don't hurt us. Let us go. The soldiers didn't pay any attention to their words. The leader of the soldiers shouted, "Test your talent." A few people came out from behind the soldiers and came to the open space. They held blood-red stones, approached the souls, and extended the testing stones into their bodies. Even if they were souls, they were still normal life forms in the world of spirits and souls. When a hand and a stone were inserted into their bodies, those people cried out in pain. Some of the weaker souls couldn't even withstand such power, and directly turned into smoke and dissipated. And for those who could withstand such power, the testing stones began to change color when they entered their bodies. The lowest level only emitted red light, and the stronger the soul power, the lighter the color. There were a total of 7 levels, and according to the people around them, it seemed that the strongest test stone would turn white. But there was no one with such talent in this group of people. After the test was over, the souls that changed 4 levels were taken away by the soldiers, and the remaining 70 to 80 souls stayed where they were, not knowing what to do. Sima Yue noticed that the eyes of the people around them were becoming more and more fanatical, and she pulled Wu Lingyu out. After the soldiers left, the people who were still in order just now became crazy, and flew towards those souls. Someone caught the souls, used the power of the underworld to suppress them into a small ball, and then ate them directly. Sima Yue felt a little disgusted. No wonder these people were so excited when they heard the commotion, so this was their plan. She and Wu Lingyu stood at a distance and watched for a while, then turned around and returned to the city. Before they reached the city, they were stopped by someone. It was the bearded man. Kikik. Those people are so stupid, they don't want such delicious souls but go for those fresh souls? The bearded man laughed and looked at her with greed. Phew. Sima Yue looked at him, not surprised at all. But when she thought about how someone like this entered her house, she felt disgusted. When she went back, she must ask the shopkeeper to change her room to a clean one. She smiled coldly. You followed us from the city to the outside and then followed us from the outside to here, and now you finally can't hold it in anymore? You knew that I was following you. The bearded man's heart sank. You came here on purpose. You're not too stupid. Sima Yue said, I didn't expect you to follow us so easily. How did you find me? The bearded man didn't believe it. He was very good at hiding. How did they find him? Your stench can be smelled from a few hundred miles away. If we can't find you, we don't need to stay in the Soul Society anymore. Sima Yue laughed coldly. You dare to have ideas about me, then you should be prepared to die. Although the bearded man was surprised that Sima Yue was so sensitive to smell, he didn't think that she was very powerful. How strong could a soul that didn't even have a physical body be? Thus, he didn't take the two of them seriously. He was still fantasizing about eating Sima Yue to increase his strength. But before he could do anything, he felt that he couldn't move. Suppression. He looked at Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu in shock. He didn't expect them to be so powerful. Seeing the two of them walking over slowly, he felt that he heard the call of death. Chapter 2078. This full-bearded man wasn't a powerful person. Wu Lingyu casually dealt with him in one move. Sima Yue searched his memories before he disappeared. Originally, he just wanted to look through these people's memories and understand the situation here. After searching his memories, she was glad that she did so. Did you find any good news? Wu Lingyu knew that she was not happy just by looking at the corner of her eyes. I know where the first prey is. Sima Yue smiled. Her unhappiness from being followed by the bearded man dissipated. Our luck is so good? Wu Lingyu raised his eyebrows. I think so too, our luck is really good. Sima Yue went over and held his arm. Let's go back and ask the shopkeeper to change your room. We will go to Happiness City in 2 days. Okay, Happiness City was not far from Midnight City, but there was a huge difference in their levels. Midnight City was just a border city, while Happiness City was the heart of the city. However, the people living in Happiness City were not happy. They had to pay a lot of taxes and had to work hard. If they dared to escape, they would be severely punished after being caught. Not many people could survive the punishment. And if outsiders wanted to enter the city, they would have to pay a large entrance fee. In short, in the words of the locals, the mayor of Happiness City was obsessed with money. Even so, there was an endless stream of people who wanted to enter the city. There were long queues at the city gates. Because an imperial emperor had once appeared here, everyone wanted to come here to seek the Tao and see if they could comprehend anything. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were in the queue. This is Happiness City? You want us to wait after queuing for such a long time? What is this? A loud voice came from behind. It was filled with impatience and anger. The queue to enter the city had been quiet. When such a voice came out of nowhere, the people in front turned to look. Young master, don't say that. Be careful of angering the city lord here. An old man beside him quickly pulled him back, afraid that he would say something inappropriate. Am I wrong? The man didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. He tugged at Sima Yue's clothes and said, Young lady, don't you think so? Sima Yue did not want to bother with him, so she did not turn around to look at him. But this guy obviously didn't have that kind of self-awareness. He pulled her once, but she didn't respond, so he pulled her again. Sima Yue turned around and took out her clothes. She said calmly, I think it's good to line up. The man was surprised. What? Don't you think it's a waste of time to queue up? It's even harder to get in if you don't queue, Sima Yue said. The man sized her up and nodded his head in understanding. I know. For someone as weak as you, if you don't line up, you probably won't even be able to touch the city gate. Sima Yue gave him a, you know what I mean look and turned around. But it was obvious that the man didn't want to let her go. He tugged at her clothes again and said, Why don't you follow me? I'll bring you in. How about you don't line up with me? Sima Yue took back her clothes and said word by word, Nothing much. You're not tempted? The man was surprised. Look at the line in front. It's so long and it's moving like a snail. It'll take us at least 1 or 2 hours to get into the city. I have a lot of time. I can afford to wait. Sima Yue said, You have an extraordinary aura, so you must have a good background? You can try. Who knows, you might be able to get in earlier. Your eyesight is not bad. I'm Luo Yi, the young master of. Anyway, I'm very powerful. If you follow me, I'll definitely be able to bring you in. How about it, do you want to follow me? Sima Yue glanced at him. Wasn't this guy a little too friendly? She looked at the old man behind him. He didn't seem surprised at all, and there was a deep sense of helplessness in his eyes. It was really pitiful to have such a young master. I'm sorry, let's continue to line up. Wu Lingyu stood in front of Sima Yue and blocked Luo Yi's view. Luo Yi's face fell when the beauty in front of him was suddenly blocked. Who are you? I'm her husband, Wu Lingyu said casually. Sima Yue didn't refute him and even held his arm. Luo Yi looked at their hands and was stunned. Then he said, All right, I can't blame you for not knowing the rules. Since the two of you are together, do you want to join our line? Sima Yue, Wu Lingyu, the old man. Sima Yue looked at him and was deeply suspicious. This guy's brain was wired differently from others. I'm sorry, we don't have the habit of cutting the line. Wu Lingyu rejected him directly. If you want to go, you can go by yourself. Then he and Sima Yue turned back. You too. Luo Yi stared at the back of their heads. He was so angry that he couldn't say a word. The old man took the opportunity to persuade him. Young master, since they are lining up, why don't we line up too? Young master, have you forgotten what the sect master told us before we came out? If you want to train well, you have to keep a low profile. Also, we have to treat Happiness City sincerely. Sima Yu laughed when she heard this from the front. She could tell at a glance that this combination was an ignorant young master and an old guard. It was certain that this guard wasn't an ordinary guard. Luo Yi thought for a while. He wanted to see Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu, so he agreed unwillingly. While waiting, Sima Yue finally saw a man who was a gossipy woman. But under his overly enthusiastic attitude, they still found out a lot about this place. I know that you two are from a small place and definitely don't know the history of Happiness City. Although this is my first time here, I have been here many times. This time I finally got permission to leave the sect. This is the first place I came to. Let me tell you, Happiness City had a celestial emperor. It is said that if people from the Soul Society want to improve, they have to obtain the celestial emperor's inheritance and find a way to do so. Sima Yue was annoyed by his constant nagging. Even if she ignored him and showed him the back of her head, he would still continue to chatter in her ear. So you are also here to gain enlightenment? Of course, not. Surprisingly, he actually denied it. Didn't you say that you have been here for a long time? Aren't you here for the Celestial Emperor? That's right, I'm not thinking about the Celestial Emperor. I just want to see the people who are still alive. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.